Chapter 394. Ning Qing thought about it, and decided not to tell Rulan about this matter. In the future when he met Xianghua, Rulan would not object to it. In the past, Ning Qing had to travel from the Jia continent to the Lu continent in 1 or 2 months, and had to go through the Yixing Ocean. Now Ning Qing did not go through the Yixing Ocean, but rather directly across several continents. With the speed of the low-grade flight-type true artifact, it only took him half a month to arrive at the entrance to the Angry Axe Valley in the Jia continent. Although he passed through a vast desert and swamp, but facing Ning Cheng's low-grade flight-type true artifact, ordinary flying monstrous beasts simply could not catch up to him. Occasionally there were some fast monstrous beasts, but Ning Cheng easily killed them. As soon as Ning Cheng arrived at the Angry Axe Valley, he knew that the array formations and restrictions that the powerhouses had arranged in the Angry Axe Valley were useless. At this time, the entrance was still covered with a white mist, but there was no longer any roaring sound. In addition to this, there was a building in the surroundings, with many cultivators coming and going. After letting Ning Rulan enter the miniature world, Ning Cheng arrived near the entrance. He had not yet approached the building, when he used his spiritual consciousness to see a small transmission array. A cultivator in the essence building realm wearing a yellow robe, was standing guard next to the transmission array. "Excuse me, is this the transmission array to enter the Angry Axe Valley?" Ning Cheng walked to the side of the cultivator and asked. "There is a notice on the side, don't you know how to read it yourself?" Facing Ning Cheng's question, the cultivator in charge of the transmission array pointed to the notice. Ning Cheng had already noticed the notice on the side. Any cultivator who wanted to enter the Angry Axe Valley would have to pay 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. Even if they wanted to teleport out, they would still have to pay 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, Ning Cheng also noticed that at this time the Angry Axe Valley no longer had any cultivation restrictions, anyone could enter. "Excuse me, is there only one transmission array to enter the Angry Axe Valley in the Jia continent?" Ning Cheng asked again after reading the notice. The male cultivator in charge of the transmission array seemed to have noticed that Ning Cheng was somewhat extraordinary, and replied, "Of course not, there are a total of 2, in addition to this place, there is another one in the southern continent. So, if you want to go from the Jia continent to the southern continent, then you only have to teleport from here to the Angry Axe Valley, then teleport out from the other transmission array." Ning Cheng knew that going from an intermediate class continent to an advanced class continent would be very difficult, even if he wanted to. Although it was easy for him, it was because he had a very high cultivation. The male cultivator in charge of the teleportation array did not have much patience this time, as he sneered and said, "You can go to the southern continent and try." Not to mention that the distance between the Jia continent's transmission array in the Angry Axe Valley and the South continent's transmission array was not shorter than walking outside. Moreover, the monstrous beasts inside the Angry Axe Valley were much more powerful than the outside. Moreover, in the Angry Axe Valley, it was very difficult to use a flight-type magical weapon. Ning Cheng did not ask again, and directly paid the 50,000 spirit stones, and entered the Angry Axe Valley. After coming out of the transmission array in the Angry Axe Valley, Ning Cheng came to know that this place was even more lively than the outside. There were even some simple shops set up on the side of the transmission array, with many cultivators coming and going. The Angry Axe Valley was already treated as an open mystic place. However, most of these cultivators did not have high cultivations. For example, Ning Cheng's cultivation was at the 5th level of soul sculpting realm, which was already considered as a top-notch expert in this place. In the Angry Axe Valley, using a flight-type magical weapon was indeed very difficult, but for Ning Cheng, he simply did not need a flight-type magical weapon. The speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds was much faster and more convenient than any flight-type magical weapon. The map that Meng Jingxiu had given him was very clear. Coupled with the speed of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, Ning Cheng only spent 3 days to reach the place that Meng Jingxiu had drawn on the map. According to the map that Meng Jingxiu had given him, the place that was drawn on the map was a boundless forest. According to the markings on the map, there were countless lakes in this forest. As long as he found a cross-shaped lake, he would be able to reach it. Moreover, this cross-shaped lake also had a direction, which was the direction that these trees were moving in. Every day, for a few breaths of time, these trees would be blown in the same direction by the wind. As long as he followed this direction, he would definitely be able to find the cross-shaped lake. After Ning Qing entered this forest, he deliberately sensed it for an entire day. After a day passed by, not to mention that he could feel the trees being blown in a certain direction, he was not even aware of the slightest bit of wind. Ning Qing did not continue to foolishly wait. His spiritual consciousness was much more powerful than that of an average cultivator. In this place, even if it was not in the direction of the trees, he would still be able to find the cross-shaped lake. This forest was simply incomparably huge, with a radius of nearly 10,000 miles. Even if that was the case, on the fourth day, Ning Qing was still able to find the cross-shaped lake. This cross-shaped lake was a lot bigger than what Ning Qing had imagined. It was composed of two intersecting lakes, spanning nearly 20 to 30 miles. According to the map, the immortal mansion of Lan Wei was located at the bottom of the lake in the center of the cross-shaped lake. In this place, there was a huge boulder with a radius of 10 feet, standing on top of this boulder, one would be able to feel the immortal mansion. As for how to enter the immortal mansion, or how to obtain the immortal mansion, it was not recorded on the map. Before reaching the bottom of the lake, Meng Jingxiu had given him a map that he could follow, which made Ning Qing feel very excited in his heart. But when Ning Qing finally stood at the bottom of the lake, he was disappointed. He did not see the huge boulder with a radius of 10 feet as stated on the map. There was only some sand and stones at the bottom of the lake. The map also stated that one could only feel the immortal mansion by standing on top of the boulder, but he did not even see the boulder. How could he feel it? Ning Qing swept out with his spiritual consciousness to carefully observe, and soon found a concealment array formation. The level of this array formation was not low, it was a rank 7 array formation. If not for his attainments in array formations reaching this level, he would not necessarily be able to see it. As Ning Qing threw out a few array flags, the concealment array formation soon revealed itself. At this time, Ning Qing was able to see it clearly. This should not be an array formation, but rather an array disk. This concealment array disk concealed the entire area. If one was not proficient in array formations, then they would not be able to see it. In the center of the concealment array disk, Ning Qing found a storage bag. Ning Qing immediately knew that someone had deliberately left it behind. This array disk had not been placed here for a long time. Ning Qing knew that even if there was an immortal mansion, it would have already been taken by someone else. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness opened the storage bag, and found a small jade box inside the storage bag. Even the jade box was not able to contain the rich spiritual qi, causing it to overflow. Ning Qing quickly opened the storage bag, and 3 crystal-clear crystal stones appeared in front of Ning Qing. This. Ning Qing almost called out. He was too familiar with this thing. Originally that old fogey had given him a broken crystal stone. It was precisely this kind of crystal stone. Relying on that broken crystal stone, his cultivation had skyrocketed, and now he unexpectedly obtained 3 such crystal stones. It was simply too happy. Ning Qing quickly put away the jade box, took out the jade strip, and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. Big brother Ning, I took the things away. When I came in to look for these things, I did not intend to live. I did not expect that when I came here, I would be recognized by this thing as its master. Unfortunately, my cultivation is limited, and can only obtain 6 of these crystal stones. As for the others, I can only obtain them after my cultivation improves. Originally, I should have given these things to Big Brother Ning, but I must avenge the blood feud of my parents. After my parents were killed, I went to find Big Brother, but Big Brother had already left. Because of my identity, I cannot speak to those big academies, so I could only find a way to come here. Thank you for bringing me the magical weapon. Without that magical weapon, I would not have been able to come here. If the one who obtained my things is not my Big Brother Ning, then forget about it, he is not even famous. Ning Cheng put away the jade strip. In his heart he was happy for Meng Jingxiu, but at the same time he was also somewhat sad. He had seen Meng Jingxiu's mother once. At that time Meng Jingxiu's father was still in the Jia continent's cultivator army. How many years had it been? Meng Jingxiu's parents had met with an accident. When Meng Jingxiu said that she could not speak to the big academies, she should be referring to Nalan Rushue. Ning Cheng also knew that even if Meng Jingxiu could speak to Nalan Rushue, she would not be able to go to the Lu continent. Fortunately, Meng Jingxiu had obtained the recognition of the immortal mansion. Ning Cheng believed that with her qualifications, with these things, her cultivation would definitely progress much faster than him. After leaving the Angry Axe Valley, Ning Cheng did not immediately return to the Ping continent, rather he went to the Yixing Ocean's Pubu Island. The reason he came here was to inquire about who killed Meng Jingxiu's parents, and also to see Kong Pengpeng. When he had escaped, Kong Pengpeng had helped him a lot. What's more, he also had the title of a 5-star junior commander in the Yixing battalion. Ning Cheng did not want to be too ostentatious. He used an ordinary spiritual artifact airship, but the airship was stopped at the periphery of the Pubu Island. Ning Cheng did not know that he had left the Yixing battalion for so many years, but his 5-star junior commander status was still there. So when the cultivator army came up, he directly took out his 5-star junior commander shoulder card and handed it over. I am the Yixing battalion's 5-star junior commander Ning Cheng, Yixing battalion. The two cultivator soldiers who stopped Ning Cheng were obviously a little surprised. Is there a problem? I came back from the Law's Way, because I was delayed in the Law's Way for a few years. Ning Cheng explained. The two cultivator soldiers who stopped Ning Cheng confirmed that Ning Cheng's shoulder card was correct, and showed a sympathetic look, as they invited Ning Cheng to enter the Pubu Island. Ning Cheng first arrived at his junior commander mansion, but he did not see his familiar subordinate Yang Honghua, nor did he see Nan Yuefang who he had gifted the black-silver warship to. There were only a few cultivator soldiers who he did not know standing guard at the entrance of the junior commander mansion. When Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the junior commander mansion, he found that the array formations and restrictions that he had arranged in the past were all gone. Not to mention that all of them had been cancelled, he even arranged a new restriction. Ning Cheng was not angry about this. This junior commander mansion was originally gifted to him by Kong Pengpeng. Kong Pengpeng knew that he had escaped, so it was normal for him to take this junior commander mansion and give it to his other subordinates. In any case, he was not going to stay here. This time he came here to take a look. It did not matter if he did not have this junior commander mansion or not. Since the junior commander mansion was not his, Ning Cheng simply did not enter the junior commander mansion, and directly went to Kong Pengpeng's general mansion. But what made Ning Cheng even more puzzled was that Kong Pengpeng's general mansion was sealed. Moreover, looking at the traces on it, it seemed that it had been sealed for a long time. Ning Cheng felt that something was not right. He guessed that Kong Pengpeng had committed a big crime, otherwise with Kong Pengpeng's status he should not have ended up like this. Excuse me, are you Junior Commander Ning? A somewhat uncertain voice called out. Ning Cheng saw that the one who called out to him was an early-stage true condensation cultivator. As he quickly spoke, that's right, I am the Yixing battalion's 5-star junior commander Ning Cheng. Chapter 395. Go to the side, this is not a place for you. Ning Cheng had just arrived outside the walls of the courtyard, when a cultivator soldier with the cultivation of true condensation realm came out and stopped Ning Cheng. At this time, the two of them had already arrived outside a small wooden building. Uncle Che Yang led Ning Cheng into the wooden building and closed the door before speaking. One of the two guards outside checking on you is a friend of mine. I told him that once Junior Commander Ning came back, he was to immediately inform me. The day before Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua were arrested, Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang came to find me. At that time, Yang Honghua was also there. He told me that Junior Commander Ning would definitely come back. Even so, after Ning Cheng entered the death cell, the entire Pubu Island still erupted with ear-piercing alarms. This alarm instantly woke up the entire Pubu Island, and countless cultivator soldiers instantly rushed towards the direction of the Pubu Island's death cell. Even several generals quickly rushed over. The Pubu Island had been fighting against the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army for many years, moreover it was located on an island, so this kind of quick vigilance was reflected at this moment. The Yixing Ocean side was even more unscrupulous. It was obvious that the Black Silver warship was snatched by Ning Cheng when the two sides had not yet reached a truce. But now the other party said that after both sides made peace, Nan Yuefang, in order to obtain the Black Silver warship, wantonly killed the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean, and even snatched the Black Silver warship. Since Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua were imprisoned in the death cell, it had nothing to do with these guards. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng stood in front of a courtyard wall covered with array formations and restrictions. From Count Che Yang's mouth, he came to know that this place was the Pubu Island's death cell. Although he had not seen Ning Cheng before, but he had heard the rumors about this junior commander Ning. When he was in the essence building realm, he had challenged the profound congealing cultivator Wei Peng, and ended up killing Wei Peng. Slowly taking in a deep breath, Ning Cheng calmed down his mood. Since he had started cultivating till now, he had even offended a super academy like the Severing Emotions Dao sect, as such a trivial cultivator army from the Pubu Island, he did not even put them in his eyes. If it was really because of him, then he did not mind turning the entire Pubu Island upside down. Did General Kong Pingping also end up in the death cell? Ning Cheng asked in a cold voice. Logically speaking, even if the two sides had temporarily reconciled, the past should not be brought up. However, the matter of Ning Cheng killing Shin Tuyun ended up causing the Yixing Ocean to come knocking on their door. Originally, they wanted to use some other excuse, but the Lu Continent's cultivator army pretended not to see it, and did not care about it. A soldier with the cultivation of true condensation realm, Ning Cheng did not put him in his eyes. In the Pubu Island, even if there were crucible transformation experts, he would not be afraid of them. When the cultivator soldier heard that it really was Ning Cheng, he quickly spoke up, "Junior Commander, please come with me." "Senior Junior Commander." Count Che Yang called out in panic. Ning Cheng's murderous intent was so intense, how could he not know what this junior commander Ning wanted to do? As for Kong Cheng, he was the one who presided over the Hua Continent's tournament of the 5-star academies, and the first time he entered the Angry Axe Valley, he was almost caught by this person. This person suspected that he had peeped into the secret of the leather scroll during the competition, and coveted the things on him, so it was normal for him to come here to find him. Nan Yuefang's hair was disheveled, and her clothes were barely covering her body as she sat in the corner of a dark cell. However, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness knew that she was not cultivating. A chain pierced through her shoulder, severing her meridians. She couldn't cultivate at all. Ning Cheng suddenly stopped. "Did you say that Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang was put on death row?" "Why? What about Yang Honghua?" Ning Cheng's tone turned cold. He was one of the 4 junior commanders of the Yizheng battalion. Even if he left, and someone else took over his junior commander position, wouldn't it be to the point of putting his number 1 general, Nan Yuefang, into the death cell? Uncle Che Yang quickly replied, "What happened after that, the entire Pubu Island knows about it." Because of this matter, General Kong Pengpeng was very angry. General Kong stood up and said that they should not have arrested Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua. As a result, because of this matter, General Kong was jointly attacked by the commander of the Yi-Hai Battalion, Lao Yu, and the commander of the Chang Battle Battalion, Ni Gang, saying that Kong Pengpeng was shielding him. Nan Yuefang knew that it would be difficult for her to escape, so she engraved this jade strip. She had only asked her subordinates to deliver the jade slips with the slightest bit of hope. Because apart from Ning Cheng, she did not know anyone else who could help her. Feeling Ning Cheng's ice-cold killing intent, Count Che Yang unconsciously shuddered. Ning Cheng did not hesitate for even half a moment. The long spear in his hand shot out, and several entrapment arrays immediately shattered under his long spear like eggshells. Speaking of which, Kong Peng Peng had helped him a lot, but now he had really implicated the other party. As Ning Qing thought of this, he felt somewhat guilty in his heart. Ning Qing completely understood what was going on. He knew about Lao Yu. He had heard that he was originally from the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy. When he was in the Pubu Island, Lao Yu was a general. His nephew Lao Sheng and he had a small enmity. He estimated that under the provocation of Yong Gu Yun, this enmity would be infinitely magnified. Count Che Yang spoke with some anger. At that time, the battle took place just outside the Pubu Island, not to mention me, even the entire Pubu Island's cultivator army saw it. At that time, because the commander of the Pubu Island, General Xian Yuhong, was not there, as a result no one dared to stop it. Yang Honghua was also sent to the death row. It is estimated that he would not even have his life left. Count Che Yang carefully spoke. Thinking of the leather scroll, Ning Cheng's mind instantly flashed with countless images. Ning Cheng quickly suppressed these images. He felt that this leather scroll was not ordinary. It was just that he did not have the time to think about it, but since Kong Cheng had come knocking on his door, then he could not blame him for being impolite. If he met this fellow, then he would definitely snatch that leather scroll. However, the Tian continent's heaven's way had once again opened, and the 9 continents wanted to arrange a transmission array to reach the Tian continent, causing the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean to feel tempted. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army took the initiative to make peace with the cultivator army of the 9 continents. Not only did they share the law's way, but they also jointly built the transmission array. They had only just reacted, when the next moment Ning Cheng blasted open the array formation, and rushed into the death row courtyard wall. In just a short time, all the cultivator soldiers who were standing were knocked unconscious by him. Ning Cheng himself was a junior commander of the cultivator army, as such he did not kill indiscriminately. "How did you know that I was coming?" Ning Cheng asked in a deep voice. Ning Cheng took the jade strip and swept it with his spiritual consciousness, and soon his complexion turned ugly to look at. This matter really did have something to do with him. Ning Cheng did not speak any nonsense, as he raised his hand and slapped the cultivator soldier, directly knocking him unconscious. As the place where the Pubu Island held the prisoners, not only were there many restrictions and array formations, but there were also a lot of cultivator soldiers guarding this place. When Ning Cheng knocked out a cultivator soldier in the true condensation realm, the rest of the people immediately understood that someone had broken into the prison. Count Che Yang excitedly received the essence-building pill with both hands. He had never thought that one day he would be able to get his hands on this kind of pill. The reason why he wanted to help Nan Yuefang was because Nan Yuefang was his superior in the past, and had also given them a lot of benefits. What happened to General Kong Peng Peng? Nan Yuefang's jade strip did not mention Kong Peng Peng, but Ning Cheng knew that Kong Peng Peng must have met with some kind of accident. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. "You don't have to worry about it, I have a sense of propriety, you just have to tell me." "Right, I have an essence-building pill here, I will give it to you as a token of my gratitude." It was not until Ning Cheng blasted open the cell that Nan Yuefang was in, that Nan Yuefang was awakened by the loud noise, as she slowly raised her head. Ning Cheng nodded and spoke, "Can you tell me where the death row courtyard is?" "How did you know?" Ning Cheng asked again. After seeing Nan Yuefang, Ning Cheng finally saw Yang Honghua. What made Ning Cheng feel relieved was that Yang Honghua was crawling on the floor of another cell, but he was not dead, as there was also a chain running through Yang Honghua's meridians. Moreover, Ning Cheng did not know what kind of opportunity Yang Honghua had obtained, which allowed him to advance to the essence-building first level. Otherwise, Ning Cheng estimated that he would have died a long time ago. Although Ning Cheng had once served as a junior commander in the Pubu Island, but he was not a steward, not to mention that he did not know where the death row courtyard was. He was not even clear about the direction of the commander's mansion. After entering the death row courtyard, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out unscrupulously, and in just a few breaths, he was able to find Nan Yuefang's position. "Its junior commander Ji, called Ji Min Kai, I heard that he already has the cultivation of second level of sea opening realm." Count Che Yang replied with some worry. He could hear that Ning Cheng's tone was not good. I am called Count Che Yang, originally under the Yijing Battalion's Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang. After Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang was sent to the death row courtyard, I left the barracks, and now became a small merchant. As the cultivator soldier walked, he spoke in a low voice. Count Che Yang did not speak, but took out a jade strip and handed it to Ning Cheng and spoke, Junior Commander sir, this was left behind by Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang. She said that if you came back, then I would give it to you, if you did not come back, then when I left the Pubu Island, I would destroy it. No. Count Che Yang quickly replied. General Kong knew that someone wanted to deal with him, and immediately escaped from the Pubu Island. The result was that he was besieged by General Lao Yu and General Ni Gang, as well as Kong Cheng from the Jia Continent Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy, and finally disappeared without a trace. The problem was that he had killed a profound congealing cultivator from the Yixing Ocean by the name of Shintu Yun, and had even snatched away that person's black-silver warship. But this Shintu Yun's background was not small, and was a person from the Yixing Ocean's Mu Imperial Palace. Originally, the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army and the 9 continents cultivator army were like fire and water, but this was not a big deal. Ning Cheng had a bad premonition in his heart. Yang Honghua and Nan Yuefang were both from his junior commander battalion. Even if something happened to Nan Yuefang, how could it be such a coincidence that Yang Honghua also met with an accident? Moreover, Ni Gang subordinate Wei Peng had engaged in a life-and-death battle with him on the battle ring, which resulted in Wei Peng being killed by him, causing Ni Gang and Kong Peng Peng to form an enmity with him. Who is in charge of the Pubu Island now, and what is the cultivation level? When Ning Cheng spoke these words, he had already planned to make a scene here. Did he kill the wrong enemy in the past? Moreover, for an enemy that he had killed, he even imprisoned his own subordinate. Ning Cheng put away the jade strip, as a murderous intent rose in his heart. Since the Lu Continent's cultivator army did not care about this kind of thing, then there was definitely a problem. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army was not as strong as the 9 continents cultivator army. Even if they made peace, it was impossible for the 9 continents cultivator army to ignore this kind of thing, unless someone was covering it up from the inside. Ning Cheng nodded. You speak, what is the specific matter? Even the place of General Kong Peng Peng was sealed. Chapter 396. Bang! An explosive sound erupted, as Ni Gang was abruptly blasted into pieces by the spear. Ning Cheng casually grabbed a ring. Among the people in front of him, he had seen several of them before, but the only one he could name was Ni Gang. Ni Gang was the commander-in-chief of the Chang Battle Battalion, and at this time had a cultivation at the peak of the Soul Essence realm. Among the cultivator army, the highest cultivation was at the 2nd level of Sea Opening realm. No matter who you are, since you forcibly broke open my Pubu Island's death prison, then you are the enemy of my Jia Continent's cultivator army. I heard that you were originally from the Jia Continent's cultivator army. I do not want you to continue making mistakes. If you are willing to surrender, then I can give you the fairest result. The cultivator at the 2nd level of Sea Opening realm spoke in a calm tone. If not for the cultivator army's opinion on this matter, he would have already started. Ning Cheng patted his shoulder and spoke, those people are already here. I already know how you and Junior Marquis Nan came here. These words can be said later. Let's go out first. Ning Cheng was simply too lazy to answer this voice. He brought Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua out of the death prison, only to find that the outside was surrounded by countless cultivator soldiers. When Yang Honghua saw the Jia Continent's cultivator army outside, his face turned pale. But Nan Yuefang did not change much. In any case, it would not be as desperate as when she was trapped in the death prison. She glanced at Ning Cheng in front of her, and was somewhat worried in her heart that this junior commander Ning would also be dragged in. Ji Minkai was very depressed in his heart. He was the one who stirred up trouble. When Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua were imprisoned, he was not a member of the Jia Continent's cultivator army. At that time, it was Xian Yu Hong who made the decision. Xian Yu Hong's cultivation was higher than his, and his status was also higher than his. In front of the Jia continent's cultivator army, to offend two small characters, he was not willing to do so. Just as he was about to speak, Ning Cheng once again spoke in a cold voice, "It is not that I do not want to kill people, but from now on, if you are not willing to associate with Ni Gang and Lao Yu, then please step back, otherwise I will treat you all as the enemy of the Yijing battalion." The reason why Ning Cheng dared to say these words, was because he knew that Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua's meridians were only cut halfway, and were not broken. If it was really destroyed, there was nothing he could do. That would require the amethyst firmament glaze essence. He still had some amethyst firmament glaze essence left, but it was not enough to save the two of them. However, even if his meridians were to be cut off midway, he could still use the profound replenishment pill to reconnect them. This was completely different from elder sister Shu's situation. After understanding this, Ji Mincai's back suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. That was close. If he had really given the order or taken action, it would have been very difficult for him to get away with it. No wonder he dared to destroy the Pubu Island's death prison. This kind of cultivation was enough to sweep away the entire Pubu Island. Junior Commander Ning, my meridians. Nan Yuefang's joy only lasted for a few breaths, before she once again turned gloomy. Regardless of whether Ning Cheng could save her or not, she was already crippled. Speaking till here, this bald-headed man seemed to be extremely angry, as he bowed towards the cultivator at the sea opening second level and spoke, "Commander Ji, Ni Gang requests to go to war, he requests to capture this lawless thief and interrogate him, and ask him where Kong Peng Peng escaped to in the end." A trivial junior commander dares to attack the Pubu Island's cultivator army's death prison. A soul essence 9th level cultivator with a pale face, subconsciously took a few steps back. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this person was definitely Lao Yu. Ning Cheng casually took out a robe and handed it to Nan Yuefang and spoke, "You do not have to worry about your meridians, even if your core lake is broken, I still have a way to deal with it. You can change your clothes first, and wait for me to rescue Yang Honghua." Junior Commander Ning, we. Yang Honghua was convinced that the person who had come to save him was really Ning Cheng, and immediately became excited. Nan Yuefang finally recognized Ning Cheng, although she had left behind a jade strip before coming in, but it was only a helpless action. She had never thought that Ning Cheng would really be able to come here. Two small axes, one in front of the other, shot towards Lao Yu, while Ning Cheng's long spear once again cut through the space between him and Lao Yu. "This has nothing to do with me. Someone wanted Kong Peng Peng's spiritual enhancement true nectar, and then looked for." Lao Yu's words suddenly stopped, as a black long spear pierced through his glabella. One move, or rather it was not even a single move. In just half a move, Ning Cheng had killed Ni Gang, the commander of the Jia continent's cultivator army. At this moment, almost all the cultivator soldiers had their mouths wide open as they stared at Ning Cheng. Was this really the cultivation of Crucible Transformation Realm? Ni Gang's bravery was well known in the Pubu Island. Fortunately, Ning Cheng had a lot of pills on him, as such after removing Yang Honghua's chains, he only needed to consume a single pill, and Yang Honghua immediately woke up. "This person is the Pubu Island's new junior commander Ji Mincai. I heard that he came from the Lu continent." Yang Honghua whispered from behind Ning Cheng. Ji Mincai originally wanted to speak, but when he saw many of the soldiers from the Yijing battalion taking the initiative to retreat, he immediately felt his heart move, and did not continue to speak. Since things had already happened, why would he continue to be a villain? Coming to the Jia continent's cultivator army for a few years, in the future he would have to go to Heaven's Way. If Ni Gang could kill this junior commander Ning, then he would be happy to see it happen. After killing the two commanders, Ning Cheng acted as if nothing had happened, as he put away the ring and walked towards Ji Mincai. The cultivator at the second level of Sea Opening Realm could vaguely see that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not as high as his, although he was not sure about it, but seeing Ning Cheng's young appearance made him feel relieved. In case someone with a higher cultivation than him, and the Pubu Island did not have any crucible transformation cultivators, it would definitely not be a good thing. Lao Yu had personally seen the process of Ning Qing killing Ni Gang. He was just about to escape, when he felt the space around him stagnate. A black and a gold axe light completely wrapped around him, he simply did not have any way to escape. In the past, when Kong Peng Peng was forced to leave, there was no one to take the lead, but now that Ning Qing stood up, no one was willing to sell their lives for Ni Gang. Even the new commander of the Yijing battalion did not have to stand up. Commander Ji, if this matter is not dealt with seriously, then my Jia continent's cultivator army would be in a state of disunity. There would no longer be any military laws. Seeing Ji Minkai hesitate, Ni Gang once again spoke up. Ning Qing had long wanted to kill this guy, but he did not expect that before he could even go up, this guy would actually take the initiative to come up. Bringing out a black spear, it rolled up an ice net spear light. Among the cultivator soldiers, there were also some from the Yijing battalion. Hearing Ning Qing's words, the people from the Yijing battalion immediately took the initiative to retreat. The cultivator army and the ordinary army were not the same. Even if they were not part of the cultivator army, they could still find a place to cultivate. It was not a big deal. Ning Qing's words immediately aroused a burst of discussion. The matter of Kong Peng Peng's battalion, there were not many people who did not know about it. For the sake of the enemies from the Yixing Ocean, the people of the Pubu Island unexpectedly plotted against their own people. In fact, there were only a few people who approved of this matter. But since Kong Peng Peng was forced to retreat, then Ni Gang and Lao Yu wanted to kill two small cultivators without any roots or foundation. It was simply too simple. Ni Gang brought out a huge long blade, but under the endless spear lights, it was simply unable to break through, but the spear lights of the long spear did not even slow down for even half a moment. In just a moment, it turned into an icicle-like spear shadow, as it blew apart the long blade, and rumbled through Ni Gang's chest. Ji Min knew that Ning Qing must be captured and killed, but the matter of Nan Yuefang was something that almost all the cultivator army of the Jia continent was aware of. He did not expect that Ning Qing would announce this matter so loudly. At this time he regretted not killing Nan Yuefang and Yang Hongho. If he had killed these two people earlier, then there would not have been such a thing today. Now that Nan Yuefang and Yang Hongho appeared again, it was tantamount to reminding everyone of this matter. If this matter was not handled properly, then it would not be a good thing for the Jia continent's cultivator army. Ji Min subconsciously took a few steps back, while simultaneously using his spiritual consciousness to lock onto his own magical weapon. As long as Ning Qing made his move, he would immediately counterattack. After Ning Qing heard about the spiritual enhancement True Nectar, he knew that there really was another reason for this matter. It was definitely because Kong Peng Peng, in order to collect the necessary materials to advance to the soul sculpting realm, had sold some spiritual enhancement True Nectar, and ended up being found out. Then he conveniently used the matter of him killing Shintu Yun to plot against Kong Peng Peng. Nan Yuefang's voice came from behind. "Thank you, I'm all right, Junior Commander had just saved me." At this time, a voice filled with dense killing intent arrived. "Who dares to break into my Pubu Island's cultivator army's death prison?" "Humph, a bunch of nonsense." A bald-headed man coldly snorted and stood up. "Before Yijing Battalion's General Kong Peng Peng escaped from the Jia continent's cultivator army, and now a trivial junior commander like you dares to attack the Pubu Island's death prison." Ning Qing did not directly answer Ji Min's words, but suddenly spoke out in a clear voice. "To all the soldiers of the Jia continent's cultivator army, I am Yijing Battalion's 5-star junior commander Ning Qing, and can also be said to be a member of the Jia continent's cultivator army. Because of this, when I forcibly broke open the prison cell, I did not kill a single person. It is not that I do not want to kill people, but because every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. In the past when I went to the law's way, how my subordinates Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang and Senior Captain Yang Hongho were framed, I do not think that I need to explain it to anyone. Therefore, today I am here to seek justice." He had never seen Ning Qing before, although he was relieved, but he did not let the people swarm him. Regarding this matter, he was very clear about it. Although Nan Yuefang and Yang Hongho were wrongly accused, but it was not his business, someone else would come forward to deal with the person who broke the prison cell. When Ji Min saw Ning Qing kill Ni Gang so easily, he felt his heart tremble. Even if he wanted to kill Ni Gang, it would not be so simple. This junior commander Ning's cultivation was definitely higher than his. Ji Min knew that he had to take down Ning Qing in front of everyone, and then turn Nan Yuefang's matter into a small matter. Lao Yu, stand up for me. After Ning Qing killed Ni Gang, his mood was a lot better, as his eyes once again swept over the cultivator army surrounding him. I am your original junior commander Ning Qing. Ning Qing spoke, as he punched open the prison cell, and broke the chains on Nan Yuefang's body. Are you junior commander Ning Qing? Unlike Nan Yuefang, although Ning Qing had changed a little, Yang Hongho was still able to recognize Ning Qing in an instant. Junior Marquis Nan, are you alright? I am not dead yet, Junior Marquis has helped me a lot. Yang Hongho remembered Nan Yuefang, and anxiously asked. You are? Nan Yuefang looked at Ning Qing absent-mindedly. She felt that Ning Qing was very familiar, but she did not know who he was. She was still thinking in her heart, who dared to directly break open the Pubu Island's death cell. This person's courage was really not ordinary. Nan Yuefang could still move, but Yang Hongho was not even able to move, as his injuries were much more serious than Nan Yuefang's. Seeing Ji Min not speaking, Ni Gang gave a cold snort, as he took a step forward, and in a blink of an eye arrived in front of Ning Qing, while simultaneously bringing out a huge blade. Chapter 397. Commander Ji, in the past, Ni Gang and Lao Yu had wrongly accused a meritorious person, and were blinded by greed. Cutting off Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua's meridians, chaining them and throwing them into the death prison, shouldn't Commander Ji give an explanation for this matter? Ning Qing stared at Ji Minkai and asked in a cold voice. Ji Minkai, on seeing that Ning Qing did not immediately start, felt relieved in his heart. For an expert of Ning Qing's level, even if the cultivator army besieged him, it would still be in vain. What's more, the cultivator army would not necessarily stand on his side to besiege him. Even if they started, he estimated that they would only agree on the surface but oppose on the inside. The most important thing was that he did not want to fight with Ning Qing. This matter was not related to him at all. This matter is really regrettable. I have not been here for a long time. Originally I was going to deal with this matter, but because the Pubu Island had too many things to deal with. Although this matter was not caused by my hands, but I still feel very apologetic towards Junior Marquis Nan Yuefang and Senior Captain Yang Honghua. I will definitely give them justice. Ji Minkai not only vaguely explained to Ning Qing that this matter had nothing to do with him, but he also completely forgot about the matter of whoever broke into the Pubu Island's death prison. Ning Qing also did not want to kill a river of blood in the Pubu Island. Since Ji Minkai said so, he no longer spoke any nonsense. This matter had nothing to do with Ji Minkai, as such he did not want to offend the Jia Continent's cultivator army. Once he killed Ji Minkai, he would have to face the pursuit of the Crucible Transformation cultivators, which would not bring him many benefits. As for him killing Ni Gang and Lao Yu, Ning Qing believed that even if the Lu Continent's cultivator army wanted to deal with him, it would only be a matter of a long time later. If no one came to help Ni Gang and Lao Yu, then killing these two people would be equivalent to killing two chickens. As for justice, I believe that Commander Ji can definitely achieve it. Now that Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua's meridians were destroyed, I do not know what Commander Ji thinks about this matter. Ning Qing stared at Ji Minkai and slowly spoke. Ji Minkai's heart sank. He thought that Ning Qing wanted to find fault with him. But seeing that Ning Qing did not seem to have any intention to start, he clenched his teeth and said, the matter between Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua really makes people sigh, but the strength of the Pubu Island is limited, as such they are unable to come up with a pill to restore the meridians. Ji Min Kai was just about to ask for the Look Continent's cultivator army's opinion, when Ning Cheng interrupted him. Commander Ji, how about this? Let's just forget about the broken meridians. You can also represent the Pubu Island to give us some compensation. What does Commander Ji think? As he spoke the last sentence, Ning Cheng's imposing aura had already started to oppress him. Since he was killed by Ning Cheng, then even if he did not want to count the matter of his meridians being broken, Ning Cheng now wanted compensation. Ji Min Kai hurriedly spoke up, I can represent the Jia Continent's cultivator army, and for the two of them each come up with 500,000 high-grade spirit stones, a medium-grade spiritual artifact flight-type magical weapon, a high-grade spiritual artifact attack-type magical weapon. For a place like the Pubu Island, the things that Ji Min Kai had brought out were already very rich. It could even be said that it was enough to arouse the greed of a soul essence cultivator. Ning Cheng turned to Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua at his side and asked, do you want to continue staying here, or do you want to come with me? Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua did not hesitate to reply, we are willing to go with Junior Commander. As long as they were not fools, it was impossible for them to want to stay here. Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards Ji Min Kai and spoke, the compensation will be according to Commander Ji's words, we will not disturb Commander Ji. Ji Min Kai felt relieved at the same time, and quickly took out 2 rings and handed them to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng turned his hand and handed the 2 rings to the 2 excited people, and then cupped his fists towards Ji Min Kai and spoke, many thanks to Commander Ji for handling this matter fairly. Before I leave, I would like to ask Commander Ji, where is Kong Cheng from the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy? Ji Min Kai finally understood that Ning Cheng had not completely given up, he still wanted to look for Kong Cheng. However, this matter was not related to him, he had already settled it on his side, whether Kong Cheng lived or died, what did it have to do with him? Kong Cheng is not in the Celestial Globe Academy, he should have gone to the Tian continent. I heard that the Celestial Globe Academy gave him a quota to go to the Tian continent. Ji Min Kai replied without hiding anything. Ning Cheng had originally planned to go to the Jia continent's Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy, but since Kong Cheng was not there, then there was no need for him to go there. Taking out a low-grade flight-type true artifact, he let Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua board the airship, and instantly rushed out of the Pubu Island. When Ji Min Kai saw Ning Cheng's low-grade true artifact flight-type magical weapon, he was even more glad in his heart that he did not start a fight with Ning Cheng. Generally speaking, if one had a low-grade true artifact flight-type magical weapon, then how many of them would be good to provoke? Junior Commander Ning. Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua had thought that they would die without a doubt, they did not expect that there would be light at the end of the tunnel, as Ning Cheng suddenly came to save them. After coming out of the Pubu Island, the 2 of them immediately came to thank Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, you can call me Ning Cheng from now on, that Junior Commander is already a thing of the past, and I do not care about it. Here are 2 profound replenishment pills, you can first go to the inner cabin to connect your meridians, and then we can talk again. Elder brother Ning, I can still restore my cultivation. Yang Honghua's hand that was holding the profound replenishment pill was trembling. He had just obtained 500,000 spirit stones, and was ready to give it to Ning Cheng. He had already lost his cultivation, as such these things would be useless to him. Ning Cheng patted his shoulder and spoke, don't worry, go ahead. Thank you senior apprentice brother Ning. Nan Yuefang knew a lot more than Yang Honghua. She knew that the profound replenishment pill was a rank 5 profound pill, and was very difficult to obtain, but she did not expect that Ning Cheng would even give this kind of pill to them. After the 2 of them went in to restore their cultivation, Ning Cheng called out Ning Rulan. Big brother, did we come out of the Angry Axe Valley? Knowing the disparity between herself and the cultivators here, Ning Rulan had been cultivating every day, and was constantly making progress. At this time, she was already at Qi Gathering 6th level. And, this time my harvest was not small, and I also took a trip to the Pubu Island. After Ning Cheng told Ning Rulan everything about the Pubu Island, Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua came out feeling refreshed. Senior apprentice brother Ning, she is. Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua looked at Ning Rulan who was standing beside Ning Cheng, and asked in a puzzled manner. With the help of the profound replenishment pill, it only took them half a day to reconnect their meridians. In just half a day, how could there be another person here? Ning Cheng had not yet spoken, when Ning Rulan stood up and spoke. My name is Ning Rulan, Ning Cheng is my big brother. Greetings senior apprentice sister Yuefang, senior apprentice brother Yang Honghua. Hearing that she was Ning Cheng's little sister, the two of them quickly came forward to return the greeting. Ning Rulan only had the cultivation of Qi gathering 6th level, but Ning Cheng had saved their lives, as such they could not neglect him. Do you know about General Kong Peng Peng? Can you tell me about it? Ning Cheng was still somewhat worried about Kong Peng Peng. He did not know if Kong Peng Peng had advanced to the soul sculpting realm. If he had not advanced, then with 3 soul essence experts besieging him, who knows if he would really be able to escape. Nan Yuefang said, General Kong Peng Peng because of his military merits, has a quota to go to the Tian continent. So when people besieged Kong Peng Peng, no one stood up to oppose it. After all, the quota is limited, with one less person, the competition would also be less. Ning Cheng knew that Nan Yuefang should not know about the matter regarding the spiritual enhancement true nectar. For a person of Kong Peng Peng's level, to be besieged by the other generals, there was definitely someone behind it. He had previously heard from Jiao Lingwei that the Gui clan and the cultivator army of the 9 continents were on good terms, as such this matter might also have the shadow of the Gui clan. Senior apprentice brother Ning, where are we going now? Hearing Nan Yuefang call Ning Cheng as senior apprentice brother, Yang Honghua also changed the way he addressed him as senior apprentice brother. Ning Cheng first took out a few jade bottles and handed them to Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua. These are the pills for your cultivation, including the profound life pill, Hearing the words profound life pill, Nan Yuefang's hands trembled, and almost could not hold the jade bottles in her hands. Even if she worked hard for a few decades in the Pubu Island, she would not necessarily be able to get her hands on the profound life pill, but Ning Cheng actually casually gave it to her. I still have some ways to obtain pills, for me it is not something precious. This time I am going back to the Ping continent to collect some debts, and then cultivate for a period of time. Once my cultivation goes up, I intend to go to the Tian continent. If you are willing, I can also take you to the Tian continent. Ning Cheng had not finished his words, when Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua firmly spoke up, Senior apprentice brother Ning, we are willing to follow you. The quota to go to the Tian continent, even the soul essence cultivators of the Pubu Island would have to fight for it. Since Ning Cheng said that he was willing to take them with him, this kind of thing, how could they not be willing? As for whether or not Ning Cheng could reach the Tian continent, Yang Honghua and Nan Yuefang did not doubt it at all. Since Ning Cheng could instantly kill the 2 generals, then he definitely had a formidable strength. Senior apprentice brother Ning, the greatest fortune in my life, is to be together with you. In the past when you were fighting against the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army, I knew that you would definitely be extraordinary. I really did not misread you. Yang Honghua's eyes turned red with excitement. Nan Yuefang did not like to talk much, but in the face of this kind of opportunity, she was unable to restrain herself. Fortunately, I joined your junior commander, otherwise I would have been lost in the Pubu Island for the rest of my life. Ning Cheng stood up and spoke, since we are all on the same side, I will take you to join a big academy. In the future, if I am not in the academy, my younger sister Rulan will still need your help. Big brother, wherever you go, I will follow. Ning Rulan quickly spoke up. Ning Cheng gave a smile. Under normal circumstances, I would definitely stay in the academy. It's just that I need a lot of resources for my cultivation. If the academy does not have them, then I might have to leave the academy to look for them, but I will be back soon. At this time, it would be more important for you to stay in the academy and cultivate. He had already decided that after he used up the 3 crystal stones left behind by Meng Jingxiu, his cultivation would definitely rise to another level. As long as he could fight against a crucible transformation cultivator, then even if he brought a few people into the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, there would not be any problems. Presumably, Rui Baishan would also give him some face. We've arrived. Ning Cheng's airship landed outside the Tsanglu city of the Tsangqin province. As he looked at the mottled city walls, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. When he had first left this place, he had been chased by a lot of people. Now that he had arrived here many years later, it was truly hard to describe his mood. Big brother, the spiritual qi here is very thin. Big brother, what's wrong with you? Ning Rulan was used to cultivating inside the spiritual gathering array, so when she arrived here, she immediately felt that the spiritual qi here was very thin. However, she immediately stopped her words, as she felt that her big brother's expression was somewhat wrong. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness fell onto a woman wearing a blue robe, causing his face to turn red with excitement. Luofei had really come back. Chapter 398. At this time, Luofei had the cultivation of true condensation 9th level, although he did not dare to say that she was invincible in the Tsangqin province, but it was still impossible for anyone to dare to do anything to her. However, Ning Cheng found some array formations around the black stone house that he and Luofei lived in. Ning Cheng felt sure that these array formations were not arranged by Luofei. Luofei alone could not arrange these rank 3 array formations. Moreover, these array formations not only contained monitoring array formations but also entrapment formations. Even if Luofei wanted to arrange an array formation, it was impossible for her to arrange an entrapment formation around her house. Luofei stood in the middle of the courtyard of the stone house, holding something in her hands. Her eyes looked a bit bleak. Ning Cheng could tell from the aura emanating from her that Luofei had not cultivated at all in this place. Rulan, you come with Yuefang. I'll go see Luofei first. Ning Cheng spoke as his figure flashed into the city and disappeared in an instant. Ning Rulan finally understood why her big brother's expression had changed. It turned out that sister-in-law Luofei had truly returned. She saw Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua looking at her with a puzzled expression, as she quickly gave a smile and spoke, "Let's walk a bit slower." My big brother saw sister-in-law, so he was a bit excited. At this time, they must have a lot to talk about. Let's go there later. Nan Yuefang nodded. Her spiritual consciousness had already seen Ning Cheng enter a stone house, causing her to quickly take back her spiritual consciousness. Luofei. Ning Cheng's abrupt voice immediately woke up Ji Luofei, who was standing in the middle of the courtyard in a daze. She instantly turned around and stared at Ning Cheng. Why did she see Ning Cheng come back? But she clearly saw Ning Cheng come back, so why didn't she dare to recognize him? Luofei, it's Ning Cheng, I'm back. Ning Cheng, on seeing Ji Luofei's surprised, panicked and somewhat hesitant face, felt some pity in his heart. She must have experienced some changes after advancing to the soul essence realm, but Luofei did not dare to confirm it. Pata. The things in Ji Luofei's hands fell to the ground and immediately scattered. It turned out to be some paper money and sacrificial items. Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei's lips trembled. She finally understood that she had not seen it wrong. Ning Cheng had truly returned. This kind of feeling that came from the bottom of her heart made her sure that the person in front of her was Ning Cheng, her fiancé. He was also the person she had been waiting for. Wu. When Ning Cheng arrived in front of her, Ji Luofei could no longer bear it and threw herself into Ning Cheng's arms. She tightly hugged Ning Cheng, and other than sobbing, could not even utter a single word. Feeling the trembling of Ji Luofei in his arms, Ning Cheng's heart was also surging with emotions. Fortunately, he chose to return to the Ping continent. Otherwise, how could he see Luofei? The two no longer spoke and quietly hugged each other. Not knowing for how long, Ning Cheng finally patted Luofei's back and spoke, "Luofei, we should be happy. I will not leave you behind to go to some mystic realm again." The last time he had thrown Luofei into the angry Axe Valley, Ning Cheng had always blamed himself. If not for that old woman saving Luofei, then perhaps he might have really lost Luofei. When Ji Luofei heard Ning Cheng's words, her body once again trembled. She raised her head from Ning Cheng's bosom. Ning Cheng saw the fear in Ji Luofei's eyes. He slowly removed the black veil covering Ji Luofei's face and spoke, "Luofei, you don't have to worry about it in the future." Ning Cheng's words suddenly stopped, as he saw a peerlessly beautiful face. Apart from a slightly pale oval face, it did not have even the slightest trace of smoke and fire. That delicate and elegant aura assaulted his senses, causing Ning Cheng to feel a burst of suffocation. There was not even a shred of makeup on her face, yet people could see that she was a peerless and refined beauty. Although she was in his arms, Ning Cheng felt that Luofei was like a fairy that was about to leave him and ride the wind. Those slightly hesitant and worried eyes almost melted Ning Cheng's heart. Whether or not beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, Ning Cheng had only seen this kind of beauty in Shi Qionghua's body. However, Luofei's beauty and Shi Qionghua's beauty could not be overlapped at all. "Luofei, you are so beautiful." Other than this kind of tacky words, Ning Cheng really could not find the right words to describe Luofei in his arms. After Ji Luofei, who was originally hesitant, heard Ning Cheng's words, the fear and uneasiness in her eyes completely disappeared. It was as if she had put down some other things, and her eyes even showed some joy. "And Gong Sun saved me, she helped me restore my appearance. Now that you like it, I am the happiest." Ning Cheng felt excited, and was just about to speak when his complexion suddenly changed. Feeling the change in Ning Cheng's mood, Ji Luofei worriedly grabbed Ning Cheng's hand. She guessed that Ning Cheng had already discovered something. "Luofei, who placed a spiritual consciousness mark on you, or a restriction seal mark?" Ning Cheng had not even finished his words, when the murderous aura around his body suddenly turned sharp. He could feel the familiarity of the restriction seal mark. He knew who placed it, moreover, it was the most vicious spiritual consciousness seal mark. He had even looked for Na Xinlan from the Dragon and Phoenix Academy for this matter. As such, there were still 2 boxes of the Power of Hope undergarments in his ring. Na Xinlan certainly would not do such a thing, and presumably, the person from the Wu Nian Academy would also not do such a thing. For such a thing, other than Gui Feng of the Gui clan, there was absolutely no one else. Gui clan, the murderous intent in Ning Cheng's heart was getting more and more intense. He had originally said that he would settle this matter after his cultivation had reached a higher level, but he did not expect that the Gui clan would take the initiative to find him. If he had not come back in time, then the result, Ning Cheng could not help but feel fear. The powerful murderous intent caused Ji Luofei, who was in Ning Cheng's arms, to shiver. She subconsciously tightened her arms around Ning Cheng and spoke, "Being able to see you again, I am already very happy. It shows that my choice was not wrong. You will definitely come back. Did you know about it?" Ning Cheng quickly converged the murderous intent in his body, as he lovingly stroked Ji Luofei's long hair. Someone placed a spiritual consciousness mark on me, and even trapped me in an entrapment array formation. However, I was not the only one in the Tsanglu city who ended up with a spiritual consciousness mark. The other women were also brought to the Tsangqin 2-Star Academy, where they were all gathered together. I request to stay here alone, otherwise I will end my own life. Ji Luofei's voice trembled a little. Originally, she had already accepted the idea of dying, as such she did not feel much fear in her heart. However, now that Ning Cheng had really come back, she also wanted to be together with Ning Cheng. Once she had a reason to live, the fear in her heart was magnified infinitely. Ning Cheng's hand casually patted Ji Luofei's body a few times, as his true essence instantly surrounded the spiritual consciousness mark on Ji Luofei's shoulder. In just 1 or 2 breaths of time, Ning Cheng managed to grab the spiritual consciousness mark on Ji Luofei's shoulder. The next moment, Ning Cheng had already placed the spiritual consciousness mark on Ji Luofei's shoulder into a jade box, while simultaneously putting away the jade box. Ji Luofei, who felt her whole body become incomparably relaxed, looked up at Ning Cheng in amazement and spoke, "Ning Cheng, you helped me remove the spiritual consciousness mark. Is it that simple?" Ning Cheng nodded. "Luofei, you don't have to worry about it. I have not removed the array formation outside, so let it be. I have already seen the women gathered in the Tsangqin Academy, and they seem to be very happy. That's because they did not know about it. The news that they received was that there was a major academy in an intermediate class continent that needed some outer sect female disciples. Gathering them together was just an inspection, to see who qualified, and who did not." Ji Luofei's words immediately made Ning Cheng understand. In this corner of the Tsangqin province, if a major academy from an intermediate class continent wanted to recruit disciples, who would not be willing? This was equivalent to a pie in the sky. Or rather, it was something that they wanted to obtain even in their dreams. Therefore, it was normal for these women to be happy. Whether it was because of him or not, since the Gui clan found Luofei, he decided to settle the accounts. "It's really strange, when there is a spiritual consciousness mark, I always want to light some incense." Ji Luofei seemed to have felt the changes in her body. "I'll explain it to you later." Ning Cheng finished, and called out towards the door, "Rulan, you can also come in." Only then did Ji Luofei realize that Ning Cheng was not alone. She then saw 3 people walking in. Ning Rulan looked at Ji Luofei in shock. Tian Muan and her were both beauties. Therefore, she did not care about the so-called beauties. Apart from Tian Muan, she really had not seen any beauty that could make her exclaim. However, she had never seen a woman as beautiful as Ji Luofei. Was this her sister-in-law? Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua on seeing Ji Luofei also secretly marveled in their hearts. Ning Cheng's wife turned out to be so beautiful. "Sister-in-law Luofei, you really are beautiful, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen." Ning Rulan quickly walked over. "Sister-in-law." Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. Why did this woman call her sister-in-law? Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "Rulan, Luofei and I are not married yet, from now on you can just call me elder sister Luofei." "Luofei, it's a long story, I'll tell it to you later." After Ning Cheng explained to Luofei, he also introduced Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua. After the introductions, Ning Cheng turned to Yang Honghua and said, "You go to the Tsanglo city and find a big place to live. We will be staying in the Tsanglo city for a while." Yang Honghua immediately responded and went out. "I'll go too." Nan Yuefang could see that Ning Cheng, Ji Luofei and his sister had a lot to talk about, as such it would not be convenient for her to stay here. An hour later, Ning Cheng finally spoke out everything that had happened to him. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng in a daze. She had thought that Ning Cheng would change so much after his family was destroyed. It turned out that he had lived 2 lives. "I'm sorry Luofei, I never told you before." Ning Cheng seeing Ji Luofei in a daze, he apologetically stood up. Ji Luofei could see that Ning Rulan and Ning Cheng had a very good relationship. She had always thought that the 2 of them were only brother and sister, but in fact, it was not the case. Now after listening to Ning Cheng's words, she finally understood that Ning Rulan was truly Ning Cheng's little sister. Hearing Ning Cheng's apology, Ji Luofei immediately reacted. Even ignoring Ning Rulan, who was sitting next to her, she also stood up and tightly hugged Ning Cheng. She now fully understood why Ning Cheng had changed so much. It turned out to be because of this. However, whether Ning Cheng had reincarnated into his past life or not, it did not matter to her. She only knew that she liked the person she was hugging. Ji Luofei's actions clearly showed her thoughts. Ning Cheng gently caressed Ji Luofei's hair and spoke, "Luofei, you must have had a hard time these years. Tell me, how did you come here? Also, when were the restrictions placed on your body?" Chapter 399. Ji Luofei gradually calmed down. After sitting down and sorting out her thoughts, she spoke. After you went to the Angry Axe Valley, I went to the God Wind Academy. Elder Lu took good care of me. Not only did he give me a separate immortal cave, he also sent people to take care of the spiritual grass garden outside the immortal cave. Because of the things you left behind, my cultivation speed was very fast. But the good times did not last long. The God Wind Academy was attacked. When I thought that it would be difficult to escape, Senior Gongsun came. She said that she was your friend, and forced the people who attacked the God Wind Academy to retreat, but she did not kill them, and just took me away. Ning Cheng had heard about these things from Dean Man of the Falling Star Academy, and hearing it from Luofei, he felt even more grateful towards that white-haired old woman. If not for that white-haired old woman, the God Wind Academy and Luofei would have disappeared. Because he was worried about Luofei, he did not have the time to go to the Hua continent. In the future, when he left the Ping continent, he would definitely go to the Hua continent. Senior Gongsun helped me a lot, and now she helped you. I owe her a big favor. Ning Cheng nodded, and in his heart, he had already remembered the favor of this white-haired old woman. N. Ji Luofei continued. Senior Gongsun seemed to be injured, and had been healing herself. When I cultivated to the true condensation 9th level, her injuries were already healed. She said that it would be difficult to get the things she wanted, and that she should leave the Yixing mainland, and asked me if I wanted to go to the Tian continent. I said that I would go back to the Zhanglu city to wait for you. She sent me to the Zhanglu city, and then left. I guess she went to the Tian continent. When I came back, I was at the true condensation 9th level, and the Zhangqin province's royal family did not dare to do anything to me. However, I had only lived in the Zhanglu city for a year, when I felt that the outside of my residence was being monitored by an array formation, and I also felt that I was being marked with a spiritual consciousness tag. Together with Senior Gongsun, I met with some experts. I knew that even if I wanted to escape, I would not be able to. Moreover, I was afraid that if I left, you would not be able to find me. Luofei, you don't have to worry. Since I'm back, leave these things to me. Ning Cheng heard Ji Luofei's worry, and once again comforted her. It's not. Ji Luofei's eyes turned red. Luofei, it's not. I didn't want to. They intentionally or unintentionally revealed that it was an order from a Sea Expansion Realm senior. I. After a moment of hesitation, Madame Luofei suddenly stood up and said, my husband, the two of us will stay here. Let Sister Rulan go first. She knew that Ning Cheng would definitely not abandon her, but she could not drag down Ning Cheng's younger sister, Ruolan. She was very clear about what a sea-opening realm cultivator was. It was an existence that she could not even look up to. Ning Cheng finally understood what Ji Luofei was worried about. She feared that even if the powerhouse in the sea-opening realm came, he would not be able to escape. Luofei changed the way she addressed him as Lord Husband, because she wanted to marry him before that sea-opening realm cultivator arrived. Sister Luofei, is that person really that powerful? Ning Rulan could not help but ask. On Earth, her brother could fly. She thought that her brother was the best. After coming to the Yixing mainland, she realized that there were many cultivators more powerful than her big brother. Luofei, Ruolan, you don't have to worry. Even if that sea-opening realm guy came to the Zhanglu city, I would not be afraid. What's more, he is definitely in seclusion right now. Even if he comes out of seclusion, it would still take at least a few months for him to come here. We can stay in the Zhanglu city for a few months to cultivate. As long as Luofei does not leave, I believe that no one would take the initiative to come looking for us. Ning Cheng grabbed Ji Luofei's hand and comforted her. Do you know who it is? Ji Luofei asked in a trembling voice. Ning Cheng nodded. I suspect that if they came looking for you, it would most likely be because of me. If my guess is correct, then the one eyeing you is most likely Gue Feng from the Gue Yuan city. Big brother, that pervert. Ning Rulan's voice trembled. She and her big brother were together, so of course she had heard about the matter of Gui Feng from Na Xinlan. She had also seen those undergarments and knew about the power of hope. She had always thought that these things were far away from her, but she did not expect that they would suddenly appear in front of her. Ji Luofei felt a little worried about Ning Cheng's cultivation, however, she did not say it out loud. Let's put aside the matter of revenge for the Ning clan for now. Yuefeng and Hongho are back, they should have found a place to live. We will now move to a new place, I want to go into seclusion and cultivate. Ning Cheng stood up. Although he was not afraid of ordinary cultivators in the sea-opening realm, but the Gui clan still had crucible transformation cultivators. Now that Meng Jingxiu had left him 3 crystal stones, he was confident that he could advance his cultivation to the next step. As for the effect of the crystal stones for cultivation, Ning Cheng was very clear about it. There was absolutely no pill or spirit stone that could compare to it. Big brother Ning, we have found the house. Yang Hongho's loud voice arrived, it was obvious that he was very satisfied with the house they had found. After the 5 people left the stone house, no one came looking for them. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness saw a profound core cultivator staring at them, but this profound core cultivator did not come forward. The other party did not make a move, and Ning Cheng also did not take the initiative to make a move. He knew that the other party was somewhat afraid of him, as long as he did not leave the Zhanglo city, then they would not make a move. There were 2 profound core cultivators in the Zhanglo city, for the capital of the Zhangqin province, a single profound core cultivator was enough to destroy the entire country, not to mention 2 people. If Ning Cheng wanted to kill these 2 profound core cultivators, then it would not take much effort at all. He knew that now was not the time to kill people. Even if he wanted to, he would wait for others to find him first. During this period of time, he had to improve his own cultivation. The residence that Yang Hongho and Nan Yuefang found was indeed very good, it had a huge front yard, surrounded by more than a dozen houses. In addition to this, there was also a large backyard, the backyard was verdant, and even had a garden and a pond. This kind of residence in the Zhanglo city would definitely have a sky-high price, but for Yang Hongho, who had hundreds of thousands of high-grade spirit stones, he could purchase countless of such courtyards. Ning Cheng first arranged a spiritual gathering array here, while simultaneously arranging a defensive array and a trap and kill array outside the courtyard. These were all just in case, he did not care about the 2 profound core cultivators, but Nan Yuefang and the others could not help but care about it. Besides Grey Toot Toot, who was released by Ning Cheng, at this time everyone else was in secluded cultivation. Ji Luofei had only obtained a cultivation method from the white-haired old woman, as for the cultivation resources that she had obtained from Ning Cheng's new ring. In addition to the millions of spirit stones in the ring, there were also piles of pills and some cultivation guides. Almost on the same night that she obtained these things, Ji Luofei advanced to the essence-building realm. At this time, Ning Cheng came to her side. She did not have any distractions in her heart, coupled with the abundant resources, her cultivation rapidly rose. The crystal stones that Meng Jingxiu left behind for Ning Cheng did not disappoint Ning Cheng. Originally Ning Cheng's cultivation progress was very slow when he used the spirit stones, but at this time his cultivation speed could be described as a hurricane. His cultivation continued to advance at a rapid pace, the mysterious yellow origin inside the mysterious yellow bead, under this kind of violent absorption of spiritual qi, also became very active. Ning Cheng's entire person was immersed in a completely oblivious state of cultivation. He had a vague feeling that the thing that was being absorbed from the crystal stone was not spiritual qi, rather it was something that was several levels higher than spiritual qi. Ordinary spiritual qi could be absorbed and transformed into true essence, allowing one to improve one's cultivation. But once he absorbed the spiritual qi from the crystal stones, not only would he be able to rapidly improve his cultivation, but he would also be able to gain some kind of enlightenment. As for what kind of enlightenment it was, he was not clear about it. It was as if in addition to the improvement in his cultivation, he had also gained some understanding of the usage of magical techniques. This crystal stone was definitely a top-grade cultivation treasure. After Ning Cheng understood this point, he crazily absorbed the crystal stones for his cultivation, putting everything aside. In just 6 days or so, with the help of the mysterious yellow origin and the crystal stones, Ning Cheng advanced to the 6th level of the soul sculpting realm. Half a month later, Ning Cheng advanced to the 7th level of the soul sculpting realm. A month later, Ning Cheng advanced to the 8th level of the soul sculpting realm. When the crystal stones in Ning Cheng's hands finally cracked, Ning Cheng's cultivation stabilized at the peak of the 9th level of the soul sculpting realm. This was already the 40th day of his secluded cultivation in the Tsanglo city. Ning Cheng did not continue to use the crystal stones for his cultivation, rather he used 10 days to stabilize his cultivation, before he finally stood up. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness and found Grey Toot Toot sitting on a rockery in the backyard, squinting his eyes as he basked in the sun. Ning Rulan already had the cultivation of true condensation first level. Nan Yuefang was at the great circle of the profound congealing realm, and was preparing to attack the profound core realm, while Ji Luofei was at the essence building second level. The only one who was a bit slower was Yang Honghua, but with the help of Ning Cheng's spiritual gathering array and the pills and spirit stones, he was on the verge of breaking through to the essence building first level and advancing to the essence building second level. It had been almost 2 months since he arrived in the Tsanglo city, and Ning Cheng knew that if Guo Feng wanted to come to the Tsanglo city, then it should be soon. He decided to leave the Tsanglo city and attack the sea-opening realm alone. He had some void-cleaving pills, although the void-cleaving pill was a rank 7 pill, but this kind of pill was not the best pill for attacking the sea-opening realm. Unfortunately, although Ning Cheng had a lot of rank 7 and rank 8 pills on him, he was still unable to refine a rank 8 pill. It was not that he could not do it, but rather he did not have enough time. At this time, he certainly would not use his time to refine pills. This made Ning Cheng very depressed, as his alchemy level was always a step behind his cultivation. Whenever he needed a higher level pill, his alchemy level simply could not keep up. For Ning Cheng, the best place to attack the thunder tribulation in the Ping continent was the Dawn Forest. Ning Cheng had come to the Dawn Forest once before, but at that time his cultivation was still very low. With his current cultivation, in the Dawn Forest, it was as safe as his own backyard. Ning Cheng chose an open space and arranged a spiritual gathering array. He was ready to cross the tribulation here. Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation had reached the great circle of the soul sculpting realm, but under the influence of the spiritual gathering array that he had arranged with nearly 100 million spirit stones, Ning Cheng still felt the difficulty of attacking the sea-opening realm's cultivation barrier. He could only touch the cultivation barrier, but when he tried to attack it, he simply did not have the strength to do so. Several void-cleaving pills were swallowed by Ning Cheng at once. The formidable spiritual power of the void-cleaving pills immediately burst into flames within Ning Cheng's body, just like a flood of spiritual power that had just broken through a dam. Ning Cheng forcibly suppressed the discomfort of his spiritual power, as he rolled up all of his spiritual power and once again rushed towards the sea-opening realm's cultivation barrier. Bang! Bursts of tremors spread out, as Ning Cheng's entire mind was struck by the formidable impact, causing him to feel somewhat dizzy. However, the formidable cultivation barrier made it impossible for him to cross it. Ning Cheng gave out a dark sigh in his heart. His heritage was simply too weak, and he almost never had the time to accumulate his heritage, and had always been advancing by leaps and bounds. If not for the mysterious yellow origin and his formidable body-forging physique, he might not have been able to withstand this kind of rapid progress in his cultivation. Regardless of whether he could break through the bottleneck and advance to the sea-opening realm, Ning Cheng had already made up his mind that he would spend a lot of time to consolidate his cultivation. As for the matter of advancing to the crucible transformation realm, he decided to put it aside for the time being. Chapter 400. The second impact of the void-cleaving pill was significantly smaller. Ning Qing immediately realized that relying on the void-cleaving pill to attack the sea-opening realm was just a delusion. He did not hesitate and took out the remaining 2 crystal stones. If he did not use these 2 crystal stones to break through the bottleneck, but instead kept them for his slow cultivation, coupled with the spirit stones, Ning Qing was confident that he could cultivate to the late stages of the sea-opening realm. Even breaking through to the crucible transformation realm was not impossible. Unfortunately, he did not have any higher-grade medicinal pills, nor did he have any better heavenly treasures. As such, he could only rely on these 2 crystal stones to break through to the sea-opening realm. Although 1 crystal stone could help him break through, but according to Ning Cheng's cultivation experience, using 1 crystal stone to break through to the sea-opening realm was still somewhat difficult. Ning Qing attached the 2 crystal stones to his dantian. Under the operation of the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method, a violent spiritual power surged out like a raging wave towards the sea-opening realm's cultivation barrier. The spiritual power flowing out from the crystal stones, under the powerful cultivation method, was not as slow as Ning Cheng's usual cultivation. Boom! As the 2 crystal stones' spiritual power surged down, Ning Qing felt that his rank 5 imperial body was unable to bear it. Blood started to seep out from his body. The incomparably violent spiritual power within his dantian could not find an outlet. It felt as if it would tear his entire body apart in the next moment. Ning Qing spouted out a mouthful of blood, while crazily absorbing the spiritual power from the crystal stones to break through the cultivation barrier. He was sure that no one would be as crazy as him when trying to break through the cultivation bottleneck. Absorbing such a terrifying amount of spiritual power, Ning Qing only had one path, that is, to break through to the sea-opening realm. Otherwise, he would die. This crystal stone's spiritual power was incomparably violent, moreover, it did not have even half a point of harmony. This was not a medicinal pill. Medicinal pills paid particular attention to harmony. Even if one failed to break through, there would be very little life-threatening danger. However, Ning Cheng wanted to use this crystal stone to break through the cultivation barrier, which was tantamount to meeting force with force. Apart from using his body to resist, there was no other way. Breaking through to the sea-opening realm's cultivation, even if he had a rank 5 imperial body, it would not be impossible. Ning Qing hardened his heart to break through this cultivation barrier. Even if the spiritual power within his body had reached an extreme, he still crazily absorbed spiritual power, again and again. Once, twice. With Ning Cheng's continuous attacks, although the barrier to his cultivation had loosened a bit, the accumulated spiritual power in his body had become even more terrifying. The surface of his body was completely dyed red by beads of blood. It seemed that in the next moment, his body would explode from the spiritual power. Fortunately, when Ning Cheng refined his body in the sifting orchid star, he had already experienced a pain that was not any weaker than this. As such, he could still endure it. As long as he could endure it, he would not die. Boom 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 boom. The entire sky turned gloomy as Ning Cheng continued to crazily attack the barrier to the sea-opening realm. He knew that the lightning tribulation was about to arrive. The reason why it was so difficult for him to break through to the sea expansion realm was not because of his poor aptitude. Instead, it was because his foundation was simply too thin. At this time, he was completely relying on the mysterious yellow origin to forcibly advance. Otherwise, with his foundation, if he wanted to advance to the sea-opening realm, it would have taken him at least 2 years. Ka-ka. 9 thick lightning arcs descended, followed by a thunder waterfall. However, Ning Cheng did not bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. He had the cultivation of a king's body refinement. He wanted to see if he could withstand this kind of lightning. His body was completely filled with spiritual power. Even if he could not withstand it, the huge amount of spiritual power in his body could support him in blocking the lightning tribulation. Peng peng. Puff puff. The 9 lightning arcs exploded on Ning Cheng's body, splashing out bursts of bloody mist. Catcha. The sound of bones breaking resounded, causing Ning Cheng's heart to sink. He found that he was wrong. The spiritual power in his body and the external lightning tribulation were two different things. The spiritual power in his body had not yet transformed into his strength, so it was absolutely impossible for him to block this lightning tribulation. Although his body refining cultivation method could reduce the damage to him, and could even quickly strengthen his corporeal body, the speed and intensity of this lightning tribulation were just too great. Not waiting for his body refining cultivation method to repair his corporeal body, the lightning tribulation had already completely exploded on his body. Seeing that the large thunder waterfall was about to descend, Ning Cheng knew that he absolutely could not resist it. Otherwise, he would die without a doubt. At this time, a trace of blue-colored spiritual source suddenly appeared in Ning Cheng's meridians. This spiritual source was quickly absorbed by him. Moreover, after absorbing this spiritual source, his cultivation instantly increased by a level. Catcha. With a sound, the cultivation barrier to the sea-opening realm unexpectedly cracked open. Ning Cheng's brain buzzed. Unexpectedly he did not have enough time to bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. The next moment, the large thunder waterfall fell on Ning Cheng's body, causing Ning Cheng's body to shake. Not waiting for him to actively circulate his cultivation method, the mysterious yellow formless automatically revolved. That large thunder waterfall fell on his body, causing large chunks of flesh and blood to fly off. However, the excess thunder waterfall was once again absorbed by him, turning into a blue spiritual source, causing his cultivation to once again crazily soar. A mysterious feeling welled up in Ning Cheng's heart. At this moment, he almost could not believe his own feelings. He could feel his own spiritual roots. He found that he already had fire, water, wood, ice, wind and thunder spiritual roots. Ning Cheng once again forcibly checked his sea of consciousness. That's right, in his sea of consciousness, there was a spiritual aura of fire, water, wood, ice, wind and thunder. The spiritual aura of thunder was the smallest, but as he continued to absorb the blue spiritual source, the spiritual aura of thunder gradually grew, while his cultivation also gradually rose. Ning Cheng instantly understood that the blue spiritual source was the thunder origin. With the thunder's spiritual roots, he could now absorb the thunder origin. His spiritual roots really were rising at every moment. Moreover, he could even see it, causing Ning Cheng to feel pleasantly surprised. He was sure that not many people could see their spiritual roots, yet he could actually do it. Boom boom boom. Once again, large thunder arcs fell, causing Ning Cheng to sober up. He was still in the midst of crossing the tribulation. After his cultivation rose, Ning Cheng felt that the violent spiritual power within his body had become much weaker. Once again, large thunder arcs and thunder waterfall fell on Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng was even more unwilling to bring out the everlasting blue thunder city. Even if his body was destroyed beyond recognition, he still wanted to absorb this lightning source. Only by absorbing this thunder origin would his cultivation rise, giving him the opportunity to advance to the sea-opening realm. Otherwise, once his corporeal body collapsed under the impact of the two crystal stones, he would be finished. It was not a matter of his corporeal body shattering, but a matter of losing his life. The spiritual power within the two crystal stones was like an overturned ocean, coupled with the seemingly endless thunder origin, it crashed into the sea-opening realm's cultivation barrier. Boom! The originally cracked cultivation barrier suddenly opened up, as if a brand new door had appeared in front of Ning Cheng. A powerful force filled his entire body, the spiritual power that was about to burst his body instantly flowed through his meridians, transforming into true essence cultivation. The tribulation thunder in the sky continued, but Ning Cheng knew that he no longer feared this kind of thunder tribulation. He did not even try to avoid it, as he crazily absorbed the crystal stones to consolidate his cultivation. At the same time, he also crazily absorbed the thunder origin to strengthen his thunder spiritual roots. If there was anyone who dared to immerse themselves in cultivation while crossing the tribulation, it would definitely be Ning Cheng. At this time, he let the tribulation thunder arcs bombard his body, while he continued to absorb the spiritual chi and the thunder origin for his cultivation. The mysterious yellow origin also became active at this moment, as it filled Ning Cheng's meridians, cooperating with Ning Cheng's cultivation method for his cultivation. His previously battered corporeal body was also recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although the surface of his body looked very frightening, in fact, it was just a layer of blood foam. Not knowing how long it took, the two crystal stones finally turned into powder, as Ning Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. The thunder tribulation had already disappeared, as the area around him had turned into nothingness. The powerful strength made Ning Cheng unable to bear it. He finally had the capital to contend with a crucible transformation cultivator. Just after crossing the tribulation, he was already at the peak of the first level of sea opening realm. Who is it? Ning Cheng suddenly paused, as he stared into the depths of the dawn forest. Crossing a small tribulation, it seems like you want to break through the universe. This is the first time that I have seen such a boring person like you. A silvery bell-like voice suddenly arrived. The next moment a woman wearing a red robe appeared in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's heart tightened. This woman gave people the feeling that she was not young. However, her porcelain doll face seemed to be telling others that she was not that old. Not only did she have a porcelain doll face, but her skin was also smooth and white, as if it would break with a single blow. Her pair of big and bright eyes stared at Ning Cheng, sizing him up from top to bottom. Ning Cheng discovered that the clothes on his body had been completely turned into rags by the thunder tribulation and the spiritual power of the two crystal stones. These rags were hanging on his body, making him look like a beggar with no clothes to cover his body. Ning Cheng knew that he should wash himself and then change into a clean set of clothes, but he did not dare to do so. This red-robed woman looked like a porcelain doll, but she gave him a very dangerous feeling. He even suspected that he was not her opponent. I want to change my clothes, you get out of the way. Ning Cheng stared at the red-robed woman and spoke in a deep voice. He did not feel shy at all. Not to mention that he still had some rags covering his body. Even if the rags on his body were completely gone, he would not feel shy at all. Facing a woman whose intuition told him that she was very dangerous, Ning Cheng did not dare to make even half a move. He was even ready to bring out his 36 cosmic true devil axes at any time. Does this dawn forest belong to your family? I want to stay here and watch, whether you change your clothes or not. What does it have to do with me? The red-robed woman spoke in a casual manner, while her eyes constantly swept over Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng slowly retreated. He soon found that no matter how much he retreated, this woman would always come forward, giving him a kind of vague threat. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness. He guessed that if this woman wanted to make a move, then she would definitely make a move the moment he put on his clothes. He wanted to see if there was anything in the surroundings that he could take advantage of. Luofei. Ning Cheng was shocked in his heart. Why did Luofei come here? After his spiritual consciousness saw Ji Luofei, Ning Cheng no longer cared about this woman, and rushed in front of Luofei in a flash. Luofei's cultivation was too poor. He did not dare to let this red-robed woman harm Luofei even in the slightest. It turned out to be true. Woo-woo. Ji Luofei saw Ning Cheng covered in blood, with his clothes not even covering his body as he fell in front of her, and could not help but hug Ning Cheng and cry. Ning Cheng's heart jumped. He guessed that the red-robed woman was about to make a move, but he found that he could not even see the shadow of that red-robed woman in his spiritual consciousness. Chapter 401. This kind of collapse would cause everything to come to a standstill. At this time, the person who brought out this spirit technique would erupt with flames, turning everything in the middle of this fire elemental collapse into powder. Ning Cheng calmed his mind, as he concentrated his entire consciousness into these images. A woman in a red robe brought me here. She said that you were fighting with people, and that it was very dangerous. Even your clothes were blown away, and I became very anxious, so. Ji Luofei spoke while taking out a white towel to wipe the blood off Ning Cheng's body. Not knowing for how long, Ning Cheng once again opened his eyes. The jade simplification that Song Wei had given him had turned into flying ash, without any trace left behind. This spiritual technique could only be comprehended once. If one could not comprehend it once, then one would not have the opportunity to comprehend it a second time. This spiritual technique was called maximal flame. Ning Cheng did not need to guess to understand what was going on. Song Wei must have known that he had a good fire seed, as such he gave him the maximal flame spiritual technique. After advancing to the sea opening realm, Ning Cheng was already thinking about how to tell Ji Luofei about Shi Qianghua. He was thinking that it would be best for the two of them to get married. Ning Cheng, on seeing that his array formation was not damaged, immediately understood that the woman in red robes was not simple. His array formation was a rank 6 defensive array formation, and the other party could freely enter and exit this array formation, which showed that her strength was not ordinary. However, this woman's actions were somewhat irrational, as it was not really harmful to him. Ning Cheng did not care about it. Ning Cheng held Ji Luofei in his arms, but he still felt some fear. Not to mention that he did not know if he could beat that woman. If that woman used Luofei to threaten him, what would he do? After returning to his residence, Nan Yuefang and the other two were still in secluded cultivation. That woman in red robes did not come again, as if this matter had never happened. Time passed by slowly, and in a blink of an eye, Ning Cheng went into seclusion for another month. Ning Cheng's mind was still flashing with those images. Saying that, Ning Cheng quickly used the clear water technique and the dirt removal technique on himself. Soon, he cleaned up all the dirt on his body, while changing into a clean set of clothes. Ning Cheng picked up Ji Luofei, and with a wave of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, they quickly rushed out of the dawn forest. Hearing Ji Luofei's words, he lowered his head and kissed Luofei in his arms, but before that, I have one more thing to tell you. Just when Ning Cheng felt that his entire body was being squeezed dry, bang! A terrifying explosion erupted. Ning Cheng saw a flame sweep past his eyes, and the next moment he directly sat down on the ground. No, with her cultivation level, she wouldn't need to do that to deal with Rulan and the others. There's no need to call you here. But let's go back quickly. Although he knew that Rulan and the others would not have any problems, Ning Cheng still felt a little worried about this mysterious woman. At this moment, he couldn't even move. His divine sense was exhausted, and his true essence had dried up. Even the strength of his body had disappeared without a trace. Ji Luofei, who was watching from the side, also felt that something was wrong. She had definitely been deceived by someone. He wasn't in a hurry to do all this. He still had a divine ability Jade Slip. At this time, he had already advanced to the first level of the sea opening realm. As such, he could now study the spiritual technique Jade Strip that elder brother Song Wei had given him. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed in his heart. He was just about to speak when he suddenly frowned. He immediately took out the jade box with the spiritual consciousness tag. He knew that Gui Feng had arrived. This fellow's arrival was just too coincidental. It was as if he had grasped the moment he cast his spiritual technique. Ha! Ji Luofei wiped off some of the blood and immediately understood. Ning Cheng's body looked like it was covered in blood, however, after wiping it off, it revealed a healthy and smooth skin underneath. Big brother, don't you only need to circulate your heavenly cycle for cultivation? Did your pill furnace explode while you were performing alchemy? Ning Rulan looked at the huge crater in front of her and asked in amazement. She couldn't help but think that even if it was a pill furnace exploding, it wouldn't cause such a terrible scene, right? His celestial river qi had cracked a bit, and some faint flames had appeared. However, Ning Cheng had already experienced the might of a celestial river qi. However, his celestial river qi had not yet fully formed. Therefore, even if he successfully cast the maximal flame spiritual technique, it would not cause much of an impact. By the time Ji Luofei stepped forward and helped Ning Cheng up, Ning Cheng had already recovered some of his strength. He swallowed a few medicinal pills and spoke with some embarrassment. My cultivation just now caused too much of a commotion, which made it impossible for you to cultivate. The maximal flame spiritual technique required a fire seed. Moreover, when this fire seed was brought out, it would also communicate with the surrounding heaven and earth. Then, in the shortest possible time, it would sweep away all the surrounding fire elements. The fire elements that were swept away would then be added to the fire seed, and in a very short period of time, it would cause the fire elements in the surrounding space to disappear, creating a false spatial collapse. Ning Cheng's thoughts fell on the fire seed in his sea of consciousness. Finally, he could not help but want to give it a try. The finger ends in the firewood, the fire transmission, I do not know the end of it. But if it were to pour out, its might would definitely kill. In a flash of lightning, the most important point of casting the maximal flame spiritual technique was to use the disappearance of the fire elements to create the false appearance of a spatial collapse. In fact, this was not a spatial collapse, but as long as it created this false appearance of a spatial collapse, as long as one grasped the moment of the false spatial collapse, it would basically be a success. The room, which was still intact a moment ago, had turned into nothingness. There was nothing left in the room, even the soil had been burnt away, leaving behind a huge hole. Fortunately, apart from the scope of the maximal flame's explosion, nothing else would be affected. However, this spiritual technique, in addition to the fire seed, also required a powerful true essence in spiritual consciousness. After Ning Cheng cleaned himself up and changed into a new set of clothes, he felt refreshed. He took Ji Luofei into his arms and spoke, "Don't trust others so easily next time. I don't know what that woman meant. If she had any malicious intent, then I estimate that you would be in danger." Ning Cheng stood up and brought out the celestial river sword. At the same time, he also started to circulate his spiritual consciousness around him. Ning Cheng also quickly understood the meaning of the last sentence. It meant that if he did not let the fire seed slowly spread out, but let all the fire seed explode out at once, the power would be enough to kill his opponent. In a flash of lightning, there were no more pointers. Just when Ning Cheng was feeling anxious, a scene suddenly appeared in his mind. These images were like electric lights that formed in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness, and then flashed rapidly. Big Brother. Ning Rulan and Ji Luofei's voices arrived almost at the same time. Immediately, Ning Rulan, Ji Luofei, Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua ran over. Ning Cheng's movements were simply too big. Even Grey Toot Toot also ran over, looking at Ning Cheng's room in shock. Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei hugged Ning Cheng, thinking of Ning Cheng's appearance a moment ago, her tone turned even softer. A passage of words appeared in Ning Cheng's mind. Ning Cheng guarded his mind, without any distractions. He understood the meaning of the first part of the sentence. It referred to the fact that the burning of the candle was limited, but the fire seed had an endless amount of time. At this moment, Ning Cheng's surroundings suddenly turned scorching hot. In just a moment, the celestial river sword that he brought out issued a "Catcha" sound. The outer shell that wrapped the celestial river seed was instantly swallowed up by a soybean-sized flame. Not only that, the scorching heat in the surroundings seemed to have been completely swept away by the celestial river at this moment. "I'll listen to you." Ji Luofei gave an "N" sound, and no longer spoke. She felt safe and happy, and no longer had anything to worry about. Those scenes seemed to have flashed to the end, when suddenly with a "Catcha" sound, they all melted away. Unconsciously, Ning Cheng had already connected these scenes together. Although he had advanced to the first level of Sea Opening Realm, Ning Cheng still did not kill the two profound core cultivators, nor did he go to the Tsangqin province to rescue the women under the restrictions. After leaving the Ping continent, she wanted to ask Ning Cheng to take her to the depths of the Dawn Forest to find her father. In the past, her father was also lost in the Dawn Forest. Regardless of whether she could find him or not, after paying her respects to her father, she would leave with Ning Cheng, and go anywhere. After all, he and Ji Luofei were engaged. He did not know if Ji Luofei would be angry about this matter. If Luofei was angry, then he really did not know what to do. Let's go back and get married, right? Ji Luofei's face turned a little red. She could feel Ning Cheng's thoughts. Fortunately, Luofei was fine. He really did not understand what that woman wanted to do. Ning Cheng quickly asked, "Why did you come here?" Ning Cheng suddenly felt an illusion, as if his surroundings had completely collapsed, as if the space in front of him had disappeared. The true essence and spiritual consciousness in his body was just like a river bursting its banks, crazily rushing out. Ning Cheng saw the tenderness in Ji Luofei's eyes, and could not help but kiss her. Ji Luofei's whole body turned soft, as she lost herself in Ning Cheng's arms. She and Ning Cheng had already kissed once, as such this time they would not repeat it, as the two of them found it even more difficult to control themselves. After Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the spiritual technique jade strip, he found that the jade strip did not contain even a single word. Just as Ning Cheng was feeling puzzled, a powerful thought suddenly blasted into Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng secretly rejoiced that he had only started to read this jade strip after reaching the sea-opening realm, otherwise, he would have never been able to comprehend this spiritual technique in the soul-sculpting realm. Ji Luofei soon felt Ning Cheng's fiery passion, and was just about to speak, when suddenly a voice arrived, "Hee, you really don't know how to be shy. The two of you are so affectionate outside, moreover in broad daylight, it's really shameful." Ning Cheng could feel the celestial river in his zifu. The celestial river had now completely come out, just like a soybean suspended in the middle of his zifu. Even now, he only knew a little bit about it. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out, but could only see a red shadow quickly disappearing. Such a ferocious spiritual technique. Ning Cheng secretly marveled in his heart. Fortunately he had tried it out. Otherwise, if he had suddenly used the maximal flame spiritual technique in a fight with his opponent, if he did not manage to kill his opponent, then he would have to wait for his death. Even with his powerful true essence and spiritual consciousness blasting out, it only caused the false space to collapse for less than a breath. Ji Luofei immediately sobered up from that fiery tenderness. She was not shy, but spoke with some anxiousness. Would that woman go and deal with Rulan? Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "I was just surmounting my tribulation here, and did not fight with anyone. That person must have lied to you. I will change into another set first." Chapter 402. Ning Cheng instantly swallowed a few clear jade pills. He even wanted to take out the rest of the true essence restoration spiritual medicines, only to find that Gui Feng had not come to him, but had instead gone to the Tsangqin Academy. Ning Cheng finally understood that Gui Feng's arrival was truly coincidental and not intentional. After swallowing the clear jade pill, Ning Cheng's true essence quickly recovered, and in just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, he had already recovered more than half of it. At this moment, Gui Feng was talking to the two profound core cultivators. As such, Ning Cheng did not feel worried at all. Gui Feng was only at the first level of Pioneer Sea Realm, and his cultivation was even lower than him. How could he be afraid of Gui Feng? In any case, he was a cultivator at the peak of the first level of Sea Opening Realm. "I'm fine. Let's go to the Tsangqin Academy and meet that Gui Feng. After going to the Tsangqin Academy, we will leave the Ping continent." Ning Cheng motioned to Ji Luofei and the others not to worry. She came again. Ji Luofei suddenly approached Ning Cheng and whispered in Ning Cheng's ear. Ning Cheng turned around and saw a red-robed woman standing silently at the entrance of the courtyard. It was the same red-robed woman who had watched him surmount his tribulation like a porcelain doll. When did this scarlet-robed woman arrive? Ning Cheng was simply not aware of it, causing him to feel extremely shocked in his heart. This kind of cultivation was simply too terrifying. "Are you going to fight? Can I go and have a look?" The scarlet-robed woman giggled, as she tilted her head and looked at Ning Cheng. Who the hell are you? Ning Cheng motioned Ning Ruolin and the others to move back and asked in a deep voice. He didn't understand why this woman in red kept looking for him. Moreover, she didn't seem to have any ill intentions. The scarlet-robed woman, who had always been very shrewd and sophisticated, was stunned by Ning Cheng's words. The mature ridicule on her face suddenly disappeared without a trace, as she muttered to herself, "Who the hell am I? Who am I?" In the beginning, he was still mumbling to himself, but in the end, he actually grabbed his own hair, and his expression was one of anxiety. Ning Cheng looked at this scarlet-robed woman in confusion. He knew that this scarlet-robed woman's behavior was very strange, but now her behavior could not even be described as strange. Ning Ruolin looked at him with some sympathy and whispered, "What's your name? Where are you from?" "What's my name?" "That's right, my name is Lost Heart, and I come from the Lost Mountain." "Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?" The red-clothed woman pulled at her hair, quickly messing up her silky hair. Ning Cheng was just about to say that she did not need to worry about it, and did not want to think about it for the time being, when this scarlet-robed woman suddenly turned over, and instantly disappeared from their sight. Ning Cheng was secretly horrified. Just what kind of cultivation was this? Even his spiritual consciousness could not capture the other party. With this kind of cultivation, wouldn't he be able to move unhindered throughout the entire Yixing mainland? How could there be such a terrifying existence in a place like the Ping continent that lacked spiritual energy? Did this woman just say that she was called Xingxin and that she came from the Lost Mountain? Could it be the Lost Mountains? At this moment, a powerful spiritual consciousness swept towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng knew that Gui Feng already knew what had happened, and guessed that he would come looking for him immediately. "Let's go to Changqing Academy." Ning Cheng put away Grey Toot Toot, and did not care about the scarlet-robed woman. He was sure that the scarlet-robed woman's cultivation was far higher than his. Gui Feng was indeed ready to look for Ning Cheng. However, when he saw Ning Cheng taking the initiative to come over, he gave a sneer and decided to wait for Ning Cheng to come over. "Elder, this is the person who took away Ji Luofei. We are not his opponent, but because this person did not leave the Zhanglo city, we did not act rashly." The two profound core cultivators on seeing Ning Cheng arrive at the Changqing Two-Star Academy quickly explained in a low voice in front of Gui Feng. "Who are you? Daring to take away my disciple?" As Gui Feng spoke, his eyes swept over Ji Luofei's face, and a trace of heat flashed through his eyes. He had never seen Ji Luofei before. As such, all the restrictions and spiritual consciousness tags were set up by him and given to his subordinates. At this time when he saw Ji Luofei, he immediately felt a sense of amazement in his heart, and immediately classified Ji Luofei as his disciple. He had seen too many beautiful women, and the number of beautiful female cultivators that he had ruined and killed were simply too many to count. He had never seen anyone as outstanding as Ji Luofei, which was definitely comparable to the Look continent's twin lotus flowers. No, it should be said that she was slightly better than the Look continent's twin lotus flowers. Although he did not dare to make a move on the Look continent's twin lotus flowers, but in his eyes, the rest of the women, he could do whatever he wanted with them. When Ning Cheng heard Gui Feng's words, he realized that the other party did not take the initiative to find Luofei because of him, but rather by accident. Otherwise, it was impossible for Gui Feng not to know of his existence. No wonder after he took away Luofei, it took such a long time for Gui Feng to come here. Ning Cheng ignored Gui Feng, as he raised his hands, and two black lines shot out without even the slightest sound. The two profound core cultivators did not even have the time to react, before they were killed by Ning Cheng's axe. "No wonder you are so arrogant." Gui Feng, on seeing Ning Cheng kill his two subordinates in a single move, before he could even stop him, immediately realized that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not any lower than his own. His eyes narrowed, as a strong murderous intent overflowed from him. Standing on the side, the dean of the Changqing Academy, Yan Yuankai, couldn't help but shiver. He was very clear about how powerful these two profound core cultivators were. As long as they used one hand, they would be able to grab him by the neck and pick him up. He was a dignified great circle true condensation cultivator, yet he did not even have the slightest ability to resist. Moreover, these two powerful people, in front of this young man, not to mention fighting back, they did not even have the ability to detect him. Just how terrifying was this young man's cultivation? When did so many terrifying people come to the Tsangqin 2-Star Academy? This was a remote corner that could not be any more remote. At this moment, he was a little scared in his heart. Those two profound core cultivators had imprisoned many beautiful young female cultivators in the Tsangqin Academy, and even said that they were recruiting outer sect disciples for the major academies of the intermediate class continents. Was this really true? Although his murderous intent was thick, Gui Feng did not immediately attack. Ning Cheng's actions had surprised him, which made him realize that Ning Cheng was not a simple opponent. Ning Cheng also did not immediately attack Gui Feng, but rather spoke to the more than 100 panicking young female cultivators. I used to be a disciple of the Tsangqin Academy. These panicking female cultivators, on seeing Ning Cheng kill the two profound core cultivators, on hearing Ning Cheng say that he was also a disciple of the Tsangqin 2-Star Academy, immediately forgot about their fear. Each and every one of them stared at Ning Cheng in shock. When did the Tsangqin 2-Star Academy produce such a terrifying disciple? Do you know what kind of fate is waiting for you? You will not be the outer sect disciples of the major academies, but rather having your essence blood extracted, and then extracting the power of hope, to be used as a sacrifice for this beast. Ning Cheng pointed at Gui Feng. Moreover, you have the spiritual consciousness tag of this beast on your bodies. This spiritual consciousness tag has been cultivating the power of hope in you, waiting for him to extract this power today. Who the hell are you? Gui Feng abruptly interrupted Ning Cheng's words, as the murderous aura crazily erupted from his body. Several of the lower-leveled cultivators who were relatively close to him, were directly struck by this violent murderous aura and spat out a mouthful of blood. Gui Feng was shocked in his heart. In this small place, there were still people who knew about the power of hope, and even knew that he was going to extract the power of hope from these female cultivators. All the female cultivators who were looking forward to joining the major academies immediately panicked. It was not that they could not feel it, but they were somewhat uncertain about it. Now that Ning Cheng reminded them, these female cultivators immediately retreated in fear. Remember, the one who killed you is Ning Cheng. As Ning Cheng spoke, the 36 axes had already started revolving around his body. It was you who killed my nephew Yuhai. Gui Feng, on hearing Ning Cheng speak out his name, immediately turned angry. With a wave of his hand, a gloomy pagoda appeared in his hands. A strange sound emerged from this pagoda. These strange sounds were mixed with some inexplicable prayers and chants. This Yin-Wind pagoda had not yet reached Ning Cheng, when Ning Cheng felt his sea of consciousness buzzing. Yue Fang, you take Rulan and the others and retreat. Ning Cheng's 36 axes split into 2 axe traces, one golden and one black, as they shot out. Trying to play with me, you're still too tender. Gui Feng roared, while the pagoda in his hands shot out at the same time. The Yin-Wind pagoda, in just a twinkling of an eye, transformed into a giant pagoda with a height of more than 10 feet, before it smashed towards Ning Cheng. A sound ray surrounded by the power of hope shot out from the body of the pagoda, completely sealing off the 36 small axes that had not yet formed their attack. Ning Cheng's 36 small cosmic true devil axes, under the attack of the sound of the Yin-Wind pagoda, were continuously tumbling about in the air, but were simply unable to break free from the seal of the sound attack. Ning Cheng felt a kind of extreme discomfort. Although his strength was a lot higher than Gui Feng's, he felt a sense of helplessness. Gui Feng's chilling wind pagoda was like a soft rubber ball. He could only punch this rubber ball until it deformed, but he couldn't break it. Gui Feng felt even more shocked in his heart. He knew that although he was just a cultivator at the first level of Sea Opening Realm, He knew that even a cultivator at the intermediate stage of the sea-opening realm would not stand a chance against him. This was his pride. His Dark Wish Pagoda was completely formed from the wishes of virgins and was incomparably powerful. Once it blasted out with the power of hope, even an ordinary late-stage sea-opening realm expert would not be able to block it. This kind of power of hope would directly crush the other party's weapon, and then the Dark Wish Pagoda would fall down and smash the other party into pieces. This was the first time he had seen the Dark Wish Pagoda entangled with the opponent's 36 small axes. This was the first time he saw a wealthy cultivator using 36 top-quality true artifacts at once. As long as he killed Ning Cheng, even if he did not use these 36 axes, he could still sell them for a huge amount of wealth. Gui Feng had a rich combat prowess. Knowing that the Dark Wish Pagoda and Ning Cheng's 36 axes were entangled, he did not hesitate to bring out a huge light cover. This was his biggest trump card. As long as the opponent was covered by it, he could definitely capture the other party alive. Ning Cheng was confident that he had the strength to fight against Crucible Transformation cultivators. However, he was stopped by Gui Feng, a mere first-level sea-opening realm cultivator, causing him to feel extremely annoyed in his heart. Almost at the same time that Gui Feng brought out his light cover, he immediately blasted out with his long spear. It was not that the 36 axes could not break apart the opposite party's pagoda, but that he had nowhere to exert his strength. Ning Cheng knew that this kind of entanglement would not last long, and that he would be able to break through this gloomy wind pagoda. However, he had already grown impatient in his heart. The long spear tore through the air, and with a bang sound, it directly shattered Gui Feng's light cover into pieces. Gui Feng looked at the spear's shadow piercing through his glabella in shock. He did not even have the time to panic. How could there be such a powerful sea-opening cultivator? Under this kind of spear intent, he did not even have the ability to resist. Chapter 403. Bang! The space between Gui Feng's eyebrows exploded. At the same time that Gui Feng fell to the ground, the Yin Wind Pagoda suddenly overflowed with Yin Wind. The overflowing Yin Qi quickly dissipated. Plop! A small wooden pagoda fell to the ground. Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the wooden pagoda, but found that this wooden pagoda did not have any spiritual nature, nor did it have any fluctuations. It was just a wooden pagoda, nothing more. Ning Cheng guessed that after this Yin Wind Pagoda was sealed, the power of hope inside it would automatically dissipate. After the power of will dissipated, the wooden pagoda returned to its original appearance. It could be seen that this wooden pagoda could store wish power, but the prerequisite was that the owner did not die. As far as the effect was concerned, this wooden pagoda was certainly not as good as the imperial jade seal of the Lan country that he had obtained. Ning Cheng did not care about it, even if the Yin wish inside the wooden pagoda had not dissipated, he would still have smashed the wooden pagoda. This kind of inhumane method of collecting the power of hope made Ning Cheng very disgusted. In his opinion, the way to collect the power of hope should be the same as the first method mentioned by Na Xinlan, which was to collect it using incense. The lord of the Lan country had established a country to collect the power of hope, although Ning Cheng did not like this method, but he did not hate it. However, Gui Feng's actions, even if it had nothing to do with Ning Cheng, as long as he had the ability, he would definitely kill the other party. Yan Yuankai greets Lord Ning. Seeing Ning Cheng kill Gui Feng, and then putting away Gui Feng's ring, the dean of the Changqing Two-Star Academy hurriedly came up and saluted Ning Cheng. He recognized Ji Luofei, and his heart began to beat like a drum. He did not know what Ning Cheng would do to the Changqing Academy. You wait. Ning Cheng motioned Yan Yuankai to wait on the side, before speaking to the more than 100 female cultivators who were still standing there in fear. I'm about to leave, but someone has placed a spiritual consciousness imprint of the power of hope on you. If you trust me, then come up and let me help you remove the mark. Ning Cheng, in front of these people, killed the powerful Gui Feng in a short time. Coupled with Ning Cheng saying that he was still a student of the Tsangqin Academy, no one did not believe him. It took Ning Cheng more than 2 hours to completely remove the spiritual consciousness imprints of more than 100 female cultivators. After destroying these spiritual consciousness tags, Ning Cheng then spoke to Yan Yuankai, Dean Yan. Hearing Ning Cheng address him as Dean, Yan Yuankai felt uneasy, but did not dare to raise any objections. In the past, I was driven out of the Tsanglo city, and the Ning clan was also destroyed. As one of the most powerful people in the Tsanglo city, surely you should be clear about this matter, right? From Luofei's mouth, Ning Cheng came to know that the Jian clan and the Chiu clan had joined forces to destroy the Ning clan, while the Yong clan of the royal clan had also acted. However, he wasn't very clear who they were. He did not understand the forces of the Tsangqin province. Yan Yuankai hurriedly said, 5 years ago, all the important members of the Yong royal family were killed by unknown people. Even the Jian family and the Chiu family were massacred until rivers of blood flowed. After that, although the imperial family still belonged to the Yong family, it was a distant branch of the Yong family. The Jian clan and the Chiu clan have suffered a great loss in strength, and have gone far away from home. The Tsanglo city no longer has these two families. Yan Yuankai did not directly answer Ning Cheng's words, but Ning Cheng already understood his meaning. That was, there were 3 families that had framed the Ning mansion in the past, and these 3 families were now in decline. Of course, there was also another layer of meaning, which was to ask Ning Cheng to be magnanimous and let go of the Yong royal family. Ji Luofei walked to Ning Cheng's side and whispered, "What Dean Yan said is true, when I came back, I had already asked about it. It should be that someone came back to help the Ning clan take revenge, and then left." Help the Ning clan take revenge? Besides him and Luofei, who else could it be? Ning Cheng thought for a long time, but could not think of anything. "Let's go." Ning Cheng brought out a flight-type low-grade true artifact. The flight-type low-grade true artifact quickly rushed out of the Tsanglo city. Ning Rulan's cultivation was the worst, as such she was anxious to cultivate as soon as she boarded the airship. Nan Yuefang had just advanced to the profound core realm, and was also anxious to stabilize her cultivation. Although Yang Honghua's cultivation was not as tight as Nan Yuefang's, but he also knew that if he wanted to go to the Tian continent, he could not fall behind too much. Fortunately, this airship was very large, and had a total of 8 rooms, so there was more than enough room for everyone. Ji Luofei did not go to cultivate, she accompanied Ning Cheng to sit at the front of the airship. She wanted to ask Ning Cheng to help her go to the Don Forest to look for the whereabouts of her father. "Luofei, do you remember the fighting pot?" Not waiting for Ji Luofei to speak, Ning Cheng had already asked a question. Ji Luofei gave an "n" sound, "I remember." At that time, in order to help Ning Cheng gather qi, and for the sake of obtaining a qi-gathering stone as a reward, she had gone to the fighting pot to fight, and had almost died in the fighting pot. "Luofei, you were almost killed there. I said that once my cultivation was high enough, I would definitely destroy the fighting pot. It was a pity that the fighting pot was gone. I don't even know who destroyed it." Ning Cheng spoke with some regret. His spiritual consciousness not only could not find the fighting pot, but he also could not find Gu Yiming. Fortunately, he had killed Gu Fei in the past. Ji Luofei leaned on Ning Cheng and spoke in a soft voice, "The fighting pot was the property of the Chiu clan. When the Chiu clan escaped from the Tsanglo city, the fighting pot was demolished by the Chiu clan's enemies." The airship flew very slowly, causing Ji Luofei to feel at ease. When she was disfigured in the Tsanglo city, she had never thought that she would have such a happy day. "I have a matter." Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei spoke almost at the same time. Ji Luofei gently looked at Ning Cheng and spoke, "You speak first." Originally he had mustered up the courage to speak, but was interrupted by Ji Luofei, causing Ning Cheng to hesitate for a long time. He did not know if directly mentioning Shi Qianghua to Ji Luofei would destroy this kind of relationship. Feeling Ning Cheng's hesitation, Ji Luofei's body slightly stiffened. She vaguely had a bad feeling. Ning Cheng knew that he had to speak. Luofei, her name is Shi Qianghua. He did not say anything else. Ning Cheng had only said a name, but Ji Luofei completely understood it. She was somewhat silent, but her heart was not very uncomfortable. At least Ning Cheng was willing to tell her. In the Chongqing province, it was normal for a man to have 3 or 4 wives. If he did not have 3 or 4 wives, then it would be abnormal. Even her grandfather and Ning Cheng's grandfather, both of them had many wives and concubines. The reason why she was silent, was because she did not like Ning Cheng having 3 or 4 wives. This had nothing to do with jealousy, but she just wanted to be alone with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng sighed, how he and Shi Qianghua got to know each other, how he was affected by Su Yingday's burning flames of lust, and how he managed to stimulate the yang qi in the small spiritual domain. Finally, when Shi Qianghua's cultivation was far superior to his, she ended up sacrificing herself to help him. Hearing that Shi Qianghua had sacrificed herself to save Ning Cheng several times, Ji Luofei's eyes turned red. She was a sentimental woman. When she heard that someone was willing to sacrifice themselves to save Ning Cheng, she began to acknowledge Shi Qianghua in her heart. When Ji Luofei heard the tense part, she hugged Ning Cheng even tighter, as she panicked in her heart. Unexpectedly there was such a shameless woman like Su Yingday. Did they still have any face? Not only that, but there was also the Severing Emotions Dao sect, an even more shameless sect. Thank you, elder sister Qianghua. If not for her, I might not have been able to see you again. Ji Luofei spoke with some fear. At this moment, she had completely acknowledged Shi Qianghua in her heart. Ning Cheng gratefully kissed Ji Luofei in his arms, although he wanted to say something in his heart, but he was unable to speak. Elder sister Qianghua should not have known that she was going to die, that's why she treated you like that. Or rather, her death was not the main reason why she gave her to you. Ji Luofei suddenly thought of something and spoke out in a low voice. At that time, I must have thought that she was Su Yingday's master, and the two of them had the same thoughts, so. Ning Cheng spoke out in a guilty voice. If Shi Qianghua had not become his lover in the end, he would have felt even more guilty in his heart. Ji Luofei shook her head and spoke, no, there must be other reasons behind it. At that time, you were in the profound core realm, while elder sister Qianghua was in the crucible transformation realm. Are you sure that your technique could seal her? Ning Cheng was shocked. He was sure that he had sealed Shi Qianghua at that time. However, when he tore off Shi Qianghua's clothes, Shi Qianghua, in addition to feeling shocked, also had a trace of hesitation. It was that moment of hesitation that allowed him to succeed. Don't think too much about it. When we meet elder sister Qianghua, we can ask her again. As Ji Luofei spoke, her voice trembled, while her body turned soft. She was Ning Cheng's fiancée, as such she should have been the one to replace Shi Qianghua. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of something. He took out a white jade bracelet and placed it on Ji Luofei's hand and spoke, Luofei, this is what Qianghua asked me to bring to you. It is something that her mother left for her. Ji Luofei instantly understood, although Shi Qianghua and Ning Cheng had already become husband and wife, but since she had lent Ning Cheng the most precious bracelet to her, it clearly showed her intentions. Shi Qianghua, also liked Ning Cheng. The reason why she put the bracelet in her hand, was because she hoped that she would like Ning Cheng like her. Elder sister Qianghua is definitely the kindest person. Ji Luofei touched the white jade bracelet in her hand. There was no longer even half a shred of estrangement between her and Shi Qianghua in her heart. Ning Cheng could feel Ji Luofei's agitated mood, causing his hand to slightly tighten. Ji Luofei immediately sobered up. She quickly spoke up, Ning Cheng, I want to see if my father is still in the Dawn Forest. If not, I want to go to the Yuan continent to have a look. I also want to go to the Yuan continent to have a look. I will circle a few laps over the Dawn Forest. As long as I can see the situation, I will immediately land the airship. Ning Cheng comforted her. His spiritual consciousness was now extremely powerful. The airship hovered over the Dawn Forest. even if it wanted to check the entire Dawn Forest, it would still be possible. A few days later, the airship finally left the Dawn Forest. Ji Luofei was silent. She also knew that after so many years, even if her father had fallen in the Dawn Forest, there would not be any trace left behind. After passing through the Dawn Forest was the Yuan continent. When Ning Cheng arrived at the Yuan continent, he immediately thought of Taishu Shi. Taishu Shi was the first friend that he had made, but because of Sun Shun's pursuit, the two of them were separated in the Yuan continent's Shijia city. Therefore, after Ning Cheng arrived at the Yuan continent, he deliberately descended the airship, and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. He wanted to see if Taishu Shi had gone to the Hua continent, and if he was still in the Yuan continent. Lian Yi. Ning Cheng did not expect that he would not be able to find Taishu Shi, but would unexpectedly see Lian Yi. Lian Yi was the woman that Taishu Shi admired. He had even helped Taishu Shi to redeem Lian Yi from the Yi Shui courtyard in the Shijia city. But at this time, Lian Yi was not even as good as when she was in the Yi Shui courtyard. If not for Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness being incomparably powerful, he would not even be able to recognize Lian Yi. Chapter 404. Luofei, wait for me on the airship. I saw an acquaintance and want to go down and have a look. After Ning Cheng saw Lian Yi, he immediately stood up and spoke. Luofei quickly stood up and spoke, I'll go with you. Ning Cheng did not care about it and directly sent a sound transmission to Yang Honghua, asking Yang Honghua to come out and guard the airship suspended in the air. He then brought Luofei down from the airship. Lian Yi, I really didn't expect to see you here. Ning Cheng brought Luofei into Lian Yi's shabby thatched cottage and greeted her with joy. Lian Yi looked up at Ning Cheng in a daze. Her cultivation was simply too low. In the past, she was at Qi Gathering 5th level, and now she was still at Qi Gathering 5th level. Moreover, she and Ning Cheng were not very familiar with each other, as such she could not recognize Ning Cheng at all. Then her gaze fell on Ji Luofei, and her eyes flashed with a hint of amazement. Lian Yi's long black hair had long since disappeared. At this time, not only was her hair dry, but there were also a few scars on her face. His skin was no longer as smooth as before, and his eyes were no longer as bright as before. When Ning Cheng saw this, he secretly sighed in his heart. He was sure that Lian Yi had experienced a lot of hardships. Otherwise a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 5th level, it was impossible for her to be like this. I am Ning Cheng, a friend of Stone. Initially, when Stone and I went to the Yi Shui courtyard to look for you, we took you and Miss Hanyu away from the Yi Shui courtyard. Afterwards, we separated, and have never seen each other again. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. You are Big Brother Ning. Lian Yi finally recognized Ning Cheng and spoke with a hint of surprise and excitement. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, yes, I am Ning Cheng, why aren't Stone and Hanyu here? When Lian Yi heard Ning Cheng ask about Shi Tu and Hanyu, her face immediately turned stiff, and tears started flowing down her cheeks. Ning Cheng's heart sank. He knew that Taishu Shi and Lu Hanyu were most likely in some kind of trouble. Before he could continue asking questions, a boy about 10 years old rushed in with a hare in his hand. Mother, I hunted a hare. Mother, why are you crying? Who are they? Ning Cheng looked at the little boy and felt a little puzzled in his heart. Did Lian Yi have a child? Pingho, hurry up and greet Uncle Ning. He is your father's best friend. Lian Yi pulled the little boy and spoke. You are Uncle Ning. I've often heard from my mother that you sent a bad guy who bullied my mother flying with a kick. The little boy immediately cried out, his tone full of surprise and joy. When Ning Cheng saw that this little boy did not have any spiritual qi fluctuations, he immediately knew that he had never cultivated before. The boy's hair was a mess, and his face was like a cat's. Big brother, his name is Taishu Pingho. When Lian Yi spoke out the little boy's name, Ning Qing immediately knew that this little boy should be Tai Shu Shi's son. Pang, the door to the firewood courtyard was pushed open once again, and a sturdy middle-aged man walked in. Ling daughter, a noble has come to the Gong residence today. Tidy up a bit, you're going to rehearse the dance immediately. Lien Yi quickly bowed and spoke, stewardly, my elder brother is here today, I cannot go over. You're courting death. The middle-aged man never thought that Lien Yi would dare to resist today. This kind of thing had never happened before. As he spoke, the middle-aged man reached out to grab Lien Yi's chest. Ning Cheng's eyes flashed with a hint of anger. He did not understand the relationship between this person and Lien Yi. But no matter what, he couldn't grab a woman's breasts. Seeing that the steward's hand was about to grab Lien Yi's chest, Ning Cheng immediately pulled Lien Yi back. The middle-aged man's hand grabbed empty air, causing him to immediately glare at Ning Cheng and speak, no matter who you are, since you dare to interfere in the affairs of the Gong residence. Then, the middle-aged man's words suddenly stopped, as he saw Ji Luofei's appearance. He had seen a lot of women, and the number of beautiful women in the Gong residence was even more uncountable. Even he himself had more than a dozen beautiful concubines. Although he had seen a woman standing behind Ning Cheng when he came here, he did not care about it. But when he saw Ji Luofei's appearance, he immediately felt shocked. In this kind of place, he unexpectedly saw such a beautiful woman. The steward's anger instantly disappeared. He immediately threw Lien Yi to the side and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and spoke, our Gong residence wants this woman, you can name the price. Ning Cheng sneered. Originally, he did not know what the relationship between Lien Yi and this steward was, which was why he did not make a move. Now that this fellow dared to have ideas about Luofei, no matter what their relationship was, Ning Cheng would not let it slide. He raised his hand and shot out 2 fireballs. These 2 fireballs instantly fell into the hands of the steward. Chi. A burnt smell came over, causing the steward to scream out in madness. He could only watch helplessly as the fireballs on his arms slowly burned up his palms, and then continued to burn up his forearms. Ah! A shrill scream erupted. The steward frantically slapped the ground, but the flames did not extinguish. Not only did they not extinguish, but they also did not spread. Instead, they continued to slowly burn up his arms. Apart from feeling a terrible pain, he simply could not do anything about it. The strange thing was that this kind of pain could not kill him. Senior, please spare my life, please spare my life, whoa. Finding that the flames on his arms could not be extinguished, the steward knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Ning Cheng looked at Lien Yi and asked, who is this person? The shocked Lien Yi finally reacted and spoke with a hateful voice, he is a small steward of the Gong mansion. Unfortunately, I can't take Pingho out of here, and can only let him bully me. Ning Cheng immediately understood and spoke to the still screaming steward, you go back and tell the people from the Gong mansion that I will come over to collect the debt. Fuck off. Knowing that Ning Cheng would not help him extinguish the flames, the steward immediately rushed out of the small courtyard, while his shrill screams gradually faded away. Taishu Pingho on seeing Ning Cheng burn the steward did not show any fear. Not only that, but his eyes grew brighter as he looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng pulled Ji Luofei and spoke to Lien Yi, this is my wife, Ji Luofei. Then he turned to Luofei and introduced her, Luofei, this is my friend Taishu Shi's wife, Lien Yi. Lien Yi bowed her head in shame and spoke, Lien Yi greet sister Luofei. Ning Cheng took out 2 medicinal pills and handed them to Ji Luofei, Luofei, take Lien Yi inside and eat these 2 medicinal pills. Then change into a new set of clothes and come out. Ning Cheng immediately understood that Lien Yi had destroyed her appearance. Taishu Shi had disappeared, and she had to live alone with Taishu Shi's son in this kind of place. It must have been a torment. Do you know where your father went? After Lien Yi went inside, Ning Cheng asked Taishu Pingho in a soft voice. Taishu Pingho shook his head. I don't know, but my mother said that my father would come back here to find us. Ning Cheng asked some other questions and vaguely understood that the biggest clan in this area was the Gong clan. A member of the Gong clan had an extraordinary status in the Blue Flame 4-star Academy in the Yuan continent. Lien Yi, along with Taishu Pingho, had a hard time living here, not to mention cultivation. Big brother. When Lien Yi came out again, she had already restored her previous appearance. Although her face still looked a bit pale, her essence qi had not suffered any damage. As long as she had enough resources to cultivate, she could still make progress. And, Lien Yi, after we separated, what did you encounter? Ning Cheng asked. After some time, although Lien Yi was still sobbing, she was able to speak out the reason. After Big Brother stopped that Sun Shan, Shirtu brought me and Hanyu, but we encountered a beast that led the way. Because of that beast, we ended up deviating from our path. By the time we understood it, a few days had already passed since the appointed time with Big Brother. Shirtu immediately brought us to the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert. Shirtu was very careful, he had not even reached the edge when he saw the wanted poster for Big Brother. We were afraid that Big Brother would end up being wanted by others and would not be able to deal with him, so we also turned into adventurers and wandered around the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert. In the next few months, there was no news from Big Brother, plus Shirtu had already reached the true condensation realm. We were ready to enter the Thunder Fall Desert, but at this time, I was pregnant. Lien Yi lowered her head. Ning Cheng was also helpless, two people who liked each other getting pregnant, he could not do anything about it. Later, under the persuasion of Hanyu, we decided to wait until I gave birth to Pingho before leaving. We had just shown up, when we were immediately targeted. I heard that it was Sun Shan's master. Even if Shirtu had already reached the true condensation realm, the disparity between him and Sun Shan's master was still too far. In order to protect me and Hanyu, Shirtu led Sun Shan's master away by himself. Lien Yi spoke while sobbing. Ning Cheng's heart also sank. Sun Shan was not a simple person, he had to spend a lot of effort to kill him. It meant that Sun Shan's master was definitely much more powerful. Taishu sure led Sun Shan's master away. It seems that it was a disaster. After we separated, we were once again chased by others, and finally Hanyu and I were separated. After I gave birth to Pingho, I took Pingho to live here. I was looking forward to the day when Shirtu would find me, but I did not expect that I would meet Big Brother. I thought that Big Brother had gone to the Hua continent. Lien Yi finished speaking in one breath, as she felt relieved in her heart. In any case, since Big Brother Ning came, then considering his friendship with Shirtu, he would definitely take away Pingho. As long as Pingho was fine, she felt relieved. Young master, save me. The stewardly howled miserably as he rushed into a luxurious mansion with 2 balls of flames. The few people in the living room immediately stood up in shock, and could not believe their eyes as they looked at the stewardly, whose arm had been burnt off. What happened? A handsome-looking man asked. He could see that the steward Lee's arm was burnt by the true essence fire through the bone maggots technique. I went to recruit a woman to dance, but she was committing adultery with a man, and I did not say anything about it. I saw that she had a devastatingly beautiful woman with her. I wanted to bring her to the young master, but that man immediately laid his hands on me. The stewardly howled as he spoke. Humph. The handsome-looking man raised his hands and shot out 2 balls of water towards the arms of the stewardly. It would have been better if he had not shot out those 2 balls of water, but as soon as he shot out those 2 balls of water, the flames on the arms of the stewardly seemed to have been poured with oil, and instantly burst out. The raging flames, in just a blink of an eye, surrounded a magnificent mansion. Quickly retreat. With a scream, all the people in the living room rushed outside. Chapter 405. Brother Gong, there are quite a few capable people in this small place of yours. They actually managed to burn down your Gong residence through a manager. After escaping from the residence, another man with slightly dark skin laughed mischievously. A trace of killing intent appeared in the eyes of the handsome youth who was addressed as Brother Gong. I know that your daughter hid her appearance. It was only because I wanted to break through to the essence building realm that I did not have the time to take care of her. I might as well give this woman to Brother Guang. The dark-skinned man laughed out loud. I'm actually quite interested in the devastatingly beautiful woman that the steward mentioned just now. I wonder what kind of woman she is. As for your daughter, I, Guang Pengkai, won't take her away from Brother Gong. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept towards the burning Gong mansion, and seeing two young men in the essence building realm coming over, he knew that the other party had come to die. Lian Yi, who is that Steward Li? Steward Li is a small steward of the Gong mansion. The Gong mansion has a clansman by the name of Gong Yuchi in the Blue Flame 4-Star Academy. I heard that he has already advanced to the essence building realm. As Lian Yi spoke till here, she paused slightly. She knew that Gong Yuchi would need some time to rush over from the Blue Flame 4-Star Academy. However, she had to tell Ning Cheng about the background of the Gong clan. If Ning Cheng's cultivation had not reached the essence building realm, then he would have to quickly leave this place. Not bad. You even managed to find out my name and cultivation. I wonder if you managed to find out that elder brother Guang, who is already at the essence building 7th level, has also come. Gong Yuchi's sarcastic voice arrived. Lian Yi looked at Gong Yuchi and Guang Pengkai standing at the entrance with a pale complexion. She did not expect that Gong Yuchi would arrive so quickly. According to her thoughts, Gong Yuchi would need at least half a day to arrive from the Blue Flame 4-Star Academy. She immediately understood. Just now, when Steward Li said that a noble had come to the Gong residence, he was definitely talking about these two people. A single Gong Yuchi was already terrifying enough, but now he even had to add in Guang Pengkai, who was at the 7th level of essence building realm. Lian Yi did not dare to think about it anymore. She guessed that even if Ning Cheng was not in the essence building realm, he should be in the late stages of the true condensation realm. For a late-stage true condensation cultivator to fight against two essence-building realm cultivators, it was undoubtedly like throwing an egg against a stone. Well, it looks like I didn't guess wrong. After restoring my appearance. Gong Yuchi suddenly paused as he saw Ji Luofei. However, since Guang Pengkai came in, his eyes never left Ji Luofei. At this moment, when Gong Yuchi saw Ji Luofei's appearance, he suddenly regretted bringing Guang Pengkai here. You really are a beauty capable of causing the downfall of nations. Guang Pengkai laughed, as he took a step forward and directly grabbed Ji Luofei's hand. Ning Cheng couldn't help but laugh. These country bumpkins who had never seen the world, thought that once they reached the essence-building realm, they would be able to sweep away everything. He raised his hand again and threw out 2 fireballs. Little bastard, daring to use fireballs to deal with this grandpa. Guang Pengkai grinned. He was just about to grab and extinguish Ning Cheng's fireballs, when he found that he could not move at all. He could only watch as the 2 fireballs fell into his palm. The grin from a moment ago had turned into panic. As an essence-building cultivator from a 4-star academy, how could Guang Pengkai not know how terrifying this matter was? The other party had to be at least a soul essence realm cultivator to be able to achieve such a feat. Soul essence realm. This was enough to destroy 100 Blue Flame 4-star academies. Extreme fear welled up in his heart. Guang Pengkai wanted to kneel down and beg for mercy, but he immediately found that not only could he not kneel down, he could not even make a single sound. Dead, I'm going to die, I'm crazy, I even dared to provoke a soul essence cultivator. Gong Yuchi, on seeing Guang Pengkai grab the 2 fireballs, gave a faint smile and spoke, in front of this kind of woman, you are still able to hold your temper. I finally understand why I am not as good as elder brother Guang. However, elder brother Guang, let's not play around, just give the fireballs to this guy. Gong Yuchi had not finished his words, when he felt that something was wrong. Guang Pengkai did not seem to be playing around, as Guang Pengkai's face was filled with panic. At this time, 2 more fireballs flew towards his hands, while he heard Ning Cheng's voice. I really did not know that an essence-building 7th level senior would come. Gong Yuqi suddenly panicked in his heart. He felt that things were not as he had imagined. Unfortunately, he was also unable to put up even half a shred of resistance, as the 2 fireballs directly burnt his palms. "Senior, please spare my life." This junior had eyes but failed to see. Guang Pengkai, who could finally speak, knelt down on the ground and begged for mercy. Gong Yuqi, whose entire body was torn apart by the fireballs, gave out a pitiful scream. He instantly understood what was going on and knelt down even faster than Guang Pengkai. "Elder brother." Lien Yi looked at Gong Yuqi and Guang Pengkai in shock and called out in shock. Ning Cheng looked at Lien Yi and asked, "Lien Yi, do you know who Sun Shun's master was? The one who chased after Shirtu? I know his name is Song Tong, but I don't know where he is." Lien Yi quickly replied. "I know Song Tong, I beg senior to spare my life." Guang Pengkai screamed in pain. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, he answered himself. Song Tong went to the Hua continent. He said that he wanted to go to the Lu continent. Ning Cheng raised his hand, causing the flames on Gong Yuqi and Guang Pengkai's bodies to instantly erupt, and in just a blink of an eye, submerged the 2 of them. Taishu Pingho, on seeing Ning Cheng burn 2 powerful cultivators with just a raise of his hand, couldn't help but gulp down a mouthful of saliva, his eyes filled with worship. Ning Cheng looked at Lien Yi and asked, "Lien Yi, I want to go to the Tian continent. Shirtu should not be in the Yuan continent. I think it would be best for you, Pingho, to come with me to the Tian continent. This is not a place to stay for long." Lien Yi immediately knelt down, but Ji Luofei quickly pulled her back. Ning Cheng spoke up, "Lien Yi, Shirtu and I are friends. You don't have to worry about this. Elder brother, I want to ask you to accept Pingho as your disciple." Lien Yi spoke with a hint of expectation. She could see that Ning Cheng's cultivation definitely exceeded the essence-building realm. Taishu Pingho also looked at Ning Cheng eagerly. He also wanted to worship Ning Cheng as a master. Ning Cheng showed a smile. "You can rest assured. Although I can't accept Pingho as my disciple, I can help him find a good master." Ning Cheng knew that his own cultivation method was not suitable for taking in disciples. His cultivation method was the mysterious yellow formless. How could he pass it on to others? As long as he went to the Tian continent's Rainbow Fall Sword sect, he would have plenty of masters. "Is it the Lu continent?" Lien Yi thought that Ning Cheng had misspoken and took the initiative to ask. "It is not the Lu continent, it is the Tian continent. After arriving at the Lu continent, we will have to cross the Yixing Ocean to reach there." Ning Cheng explained. He knew that Lien Yi definitely did not know about the Tian continent. Cross the Yixing Ocean? Lien Yi was startled and did not dare to ask again. After Lien Yi boarded the airship, she realized that Ning Cheng's airship had been parked in the sky. Seeing the airship quickly leaving, Lien Yi finally understood why Ning Cheng had the confidence to go to the Tian continent. Lu continent, Gue Yuan city. Rather than calling it a city, it would be better to call it a clan. The Gue Yuan city had always been the nest of the 9-star aristocratic family, the Gue clan. With such a formidable heritage, it allowed the Gue clan to be ranked as one of the 3 9-star academies in the Lu continent. Moreover, their strength was not the slightest bit weaker than the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. The reason for this was that the Gue clan had 3 crucible transformation cultivators, as well as several sea-opening realm cultivators. The most powerful aspect of a 9-star academy was, of course, the number of crucible transformation cultivators it had. However, there were very few crucible transformation cultivators who were truly in charge of such matters. Therefore, one could say that a 9-star academy's sea-opening realm cultivator and soul-sculpting realm cultivator represented the heritage of that 9-star academy. As a 9-star academy, the Gue clan had a total of 11 sea-opening realm cultivators. However, today, the atmosphere in the Gue Yuan city was somewhat solemn. Only the core members of the Gue clan knew that the Gue clan's most powerful sea-opening realm cultivator, Gue Feng, had fallen. Gue Feng's cultivation was only at the first level of sea-opening realm. Among the many sea-opening realm cultivators in the Gue clan, he was simply unremarkable. However, with his cultivation and strength, even a sea-opening 8th level cultivator from the Gue clan would not dare to say that he could win against Gue Feng for sure. It was all because Gue Feng had a powerful magical weapon, the Netherworld Wish Pagoda. From this, it could be seen that Gue Feng had a bright future ahead of him. What's more, Gue Feng was the younger brother of Gue Yuan City's city lord, Gue Zhong. This kind of relationship made Gue Feng's status in Gue Yuan City even more extraordinary. Such an incomparably powerful sea-opening realm cultivator unexpectedly fell, without even the slightest sign. After the fall of Gue Yuan City's number 1 genius, Gue Yuhai, this was the second important person to fall. Unfortunately, at this time, Gue Zhong was not in the Lu continent. Even the Gue clan's crucible transformation elder, Gue Jingqing, was not in the Gue Yuan city. The only crucible transformation cultivator remaining in the Gue Yuan city was Gue Ba, who had just advanced. Today's meeting of the Gue clan was presided over by Gue Ba. When he came to know that Gue Feng had fallen, he simply did not believe it. In the Lu continent, or rather, in the scope of the 9 continents, who would dare to kill Gue Feng? Or rather, who else could kill Gue Feng? However, the fact was that Gue Feng had truly died, and even his spiritual card had shattered into pieces. Gue Ba was a cultivation madman, as such, he did not like such meetings. Currently, in the Gue Yuan city, his status and cultivation were the highest, as such, he had no choice but to preside over such meetings. No matter who killed my Gue clan's Gue Feng, my Gue clan will definitely crush his bones and scatter his ashes. Since the other party could kill Gue Feng, it shows that this person is not an ordinary cultivator. It is most likely a crucible transformation cultivator, or at least a peak sea-opening realm cultivator. Gue Ba sat in the seat of honor and spoke in a gentle tone. However, the anger in his heart almost caused him to spew out fire. Elder Ba, I don't think that the one who killed Elder Gue Feng is necessarily a crucible transformation cultivator. The Wu Nian Academy and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy both have crucible transformation cultivators, and recently, the Blue Cloud 8-Star Academy also has a crucible transformation cultivator. I don't think that they would dare to lay their hands on my Gue Yuan city, let alone Elder Gue Feng. A middle-aged man with a white face stood up and spoke in a neither fast nor slow manner. Seeing everyone's eyes focusing on him, the middle-aged man continued, I don't know if everyone knows about the matter of Duan Zhang being killed some time ago. Duan Zhang was an expert at the first level of sea-opening realm, which ordinary person could kill him. I suspect that the one who killed Duan Zhang and Elder Gue Feng might be the same person. Elder Gue Quang, can you quickly tell us who he is? Gue Ba suddenly stood up. He did not like to think about problems. The best thing to do was to tell him who the murderer was, so that he could directly slap him flat. The middle-aged man called Gue Quang gave a faint smile and spoke, I do not know who it is, but it is very simple to find out. You just have to find the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Na Xinlan. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.